Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to an orientation session for the Inkster City Council, October 5th, 2020. All right, let's just jump right into it. Does anyone have any questions as it relates to the agenda for tonight? Around council? It could be a good thing or a bad thing. Everybody hear me?
Mr. Mayor?
All right, there we go. Councilwoman Wiley, go ahead, please.
Yes, I was wondering if we could add the agenda to attempt to make a date for a study session on the ordinance, the marijuana ordinance.
Yes, ma'am, we definitely can do that. And just on tonight's meeting for that, put it in the email as it relates to the tabled item for discussion on October the 19th. It would have been because the all of the ordinance stuff won't come out of Planning Commission until the 26th because of public notice and public participation. Everything that's being suggested has to go, that's being proposed has to go through the Planning Commission. You want to do it right after the 26th, or what's your pleasure? That's what I would suggest, that we do it right after the 26th.
That would be fine. I just want a time when this can be meted out or discussed in depth so we understand the impact this ordinance will have.
Yeah, okay. You want to do it that Tuesday, the 27th, October?
That's not going to be a planning commission day, is it?
Planning Commission is on that Monday.
Okay, yeah, then that'll be fine.
All right, then, so that'll be Tuesday, the 27th. 6 o'clock work for everybody?
Fine with me.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right, then. Also, too, I know Mr. Carrington is here too. We want to set a date for us to have a study session as it relates to the budget. Mr. Carrington, what date did you have a date in mind? I can't hear you, sir. You're on mute.
I always hate doing that. I try and catch myself before I do that. Mayor, I was thinking some date between the 9th and the 2nd, between the last council meeting of this month and the first council meeting of next month. I'm not sure how those dates work for everyone, but we did want to do it in October, but we wanted to avoid that council meeting on the 2nd, which is the day before the election. And then I know the 19th is going to be kind of more focused on the ordinance. So I wanted to look at something in between those dates.
Any suggestions? What were you thinking? You want to throw a date out there for
I mean, I'm open to councils. I don't know if there's a particular day that council prefers. You know, if Monday the 26th, I'm sorry, was there a planning commission on that day?
Yeah,
the 26th?
Planning Commission meeting.
Okay.
Yes.
And then when was the study session being?
On October the 27th.
The 27th. Yeah, the week of the 19th might be a little too soon. But I don't know, maybe the 21st or the 22nd, if we want to do it that week. I know we're kind of already have a couple, there's a couple dates already on the week of the 26th. So I would suggest the 21st, the 22nd, or the 28th. Or the 29th, the 21st, 22nd, 28th, or 29th would be my suggestion.
Anybody from council want to throw a date out?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me, Mayor.
All right. Let's just go ahead and shoot them back to back. Let's go ahead to 28th.
28th of September, October.
Yes.
I'm sorry, can everybody catch me up because I'm just getting on here again, so.
So we have a couple of special sessions that we're going to have, study sessions. One is going to be for the marijuana ordinance on October the 27th at 6 p.m. And then the other that we're talking about right now is locking in for finance study session for the budget on October the 28th at 6 p.m. as well.
Is a Friday available for everybody, the 30th?
We call that Angels Night.
Oh,
I necessarily want to say for everybody else, but I'm pretty sure we'll be having some activities going on
okay.
in the city. Darren, could we go November the 4th, or is that too far out? That's that Wednesday.
No, I mean, I'm sure there's still, that's the day after election day. That's usually not they probably still
Okay.
be counting ballots on that day.
Okay.
The 28th is okay with me too. I think back to back will be good.
Okay. I'm okay with that.
Okay. All right then, so we'll lock that into. Alicia, you'll get those notices out. All right. So the emergency shelter presentation, the guys have asked them to join us tonight. I don't know if they're going to be on the call as of yet. So just wanted them to be here to be able to answer any questions that you all may have about the emergency shelter and then what they're proposing to do. Firefighters eviction diversion program. Are any questions on tonight's agenda? Going back around for council?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Question on the budget amendment?
Go
Can
ahead.
someone explain?
Yes, and I can kind of, if now's the appropriate time, I can kind of just walk through that request
Yes.
just to make sure everybody's understanding what's been submitted. And I just want to make sure, I apologize, the initial packet that council received had an incomplete request. I then provided a follow-up document to the clerk. Madam Clerk circulated that, sent that to her on Friday, and she circulated one. So just want to make sure everybody has that updated request. It's a 4-page document. I'm sorry, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So just want to make sure everybody has that second document that was sent by the clerk on Friday. Again, it's a 4-page document. That first couple pages are the council request, and there's 2 pages. One is an overview of the purchase, and then the second one is a proposed budget amendment. So just working off that document, first thing I'd like to do is just review the purchase that is being, the purchases, or the purchase, if you will. I'm kind of broken it down into two components, because the first purchase is being financed through an FDCVT grant that the city received back over a year ago. So that is purchase number one. There are 3 vehicles that are tied to that purchase. 3 of the 4 Intercept SUVs. They're at a cost of each of just under a little more than $33,000, $33,800, and we're buying those outright. Reason that particular item is before you is because it was initially budgeted for last fiscal year. So the grant was received in 2019. It was accepted by council. It was put into the FY19, FY20 budget. And then the vehicles were ordered. Because of the delay, there's a pretty significant backlog. There was a delay much longer than normal getting those vehicles. The vehicles didn't come in until FY21, until after June 30th of this year. So we need to pull that from last fiscal year and place it into this fiscal year. So we'll be putting in the revenues from the grant that we'll be getting reimbursed for, as well as the expenses for the cost of paying for those vehicles. So that's item number one.
I'm sorry, Mr. Carrington, before you go to item 2, the purchase of the purchase number 1. So
Yes.
once the grant comes in, we receive this $100,000. It would take, that's the total cost. We don't have any more payments, right?
Correct. So yes, we're paying for that outright. We're buying that straight out. There is, if you notice that the cost is actually like $1,517. It's like $101,500. So there's a little bit of a difference, but by and large, they do cost $100,000, and we're purchasing those outright. So that's it. We'll own those. There will be no further payments owed on those first 3 vehicles.
Okay, so the difference of the $1,500, where is that money coming from to pay it off?
That money is part of the later budget amendment. I just baked that into the later budget amendment. I just essentially included that $1,500 because there are some additional funds that we do need to request in order to complete all of the purchases. So that $1,500 is contained in the later request.
Okay, these 3 vehicles, who has these 3 vehicles?
Those are in the police department. I'm not sure how those or exactly how those vehicles have been assigned or deployed. I believe Chief Riley, are you still on? I think I saw, Chief Riley or AC Ratliff can speak to that.
I'm on.
So
let me in.
Yeah, we can hear you, Chief.
Oh, okay. No,
Okay.
those were like Dan said, they came from the state grant, and the grant asked for, at that time we asked for specific what we call admin vehicles, and that's what they are. They're part of admin, and admin includes admin and investigations that can use the vehicles.
Oh, okay, so nothing went out to the police officers that needed cars then, right?
Well, no, not that. They were assigned to admin, but however, we had to use a couple of them because our cars broke down. Even though the grant asked for, the grant was for admin and investigations, we still had to use them, because at one point, all our cars were down. So it's a police car, so hey, we had to use it.
Okay, when you say admin, is that a secretary or what is that?
No, admin is like internal affairs, the chief's office, community service, or community policing, and investigation bureau. That's considered admin.
Okay, so they all using that one car then?
No, we had 3 vehicles.
Okay. So none of these 3 vehicles right here went to the police department as a whole, as far as the officers driving them on a daily basis.
They went to the police department, but when we wrote the grant, we wrote it for admin because they had given us police vehicles, patrol vehicles at an earlier date. So they didn't give us the patrol this time. They gave us the admin because we needed those as well.
Okay, thank you. That's all of my questions for purchase number 1.
Okay.
Okay. And also, I know
I have a question.
Yes.
Mr. Chair. Now he made mention about they gave a grant for police patrol vehicles, or they didn't.
The grant was for admin vehicles, but they're still police vehicles. But the grant we wrote 2 grants at that same year to try to get more actual patrol vehicles as well, which come with a whole lot more stuff in them and on them. And we wrote the grant for admin vehicles, which come with less stuff that usually detectives, chief's office, Lord, I just got it, community policing, that for them. We didn't get the patrol vehicles because they gave us some the first year we came in, but they gave us the admin.
So they gave you some. When you say some, what do you mean by some?
They gave us the 3 for admin. They gave us 3 vehicles for admin.
So hold on. Let me try to understand this real quick. So you say you wrote 2 grants, one for an admin vehicle, and also one for police patrol vehicles, right? Am I correct?
Right. We wrote, yeah. It's the same grant. It's just that we requested one section for patrol vehicles, strictly for patrol, road patrol, and we also wrote in the same grant. We also asked for some admin vehicles as well.
I think just to expound on what the chief is saying, Chief, if I recall correctly, I looked at the grant over the weekend. I think we didn't get, was that the one where the full grant was not funded? Like we only got part of the grant?
Absolutely.
Funded? Yes.
They didn't give us the full. They just gave us the 3 admin cards.
So I think that's kind of, Councilman Shaw, that's kind of, I think what you're alluding to is that, we requested more than what we actually received. And
Correct.
So to Chief's point, the part that got funded was really the admin vehicles. And I think this goes to a question that Councilman Williams sent over the weekend,
Right.
because there's a big cost difference between an admin vehicle and a patrol vehicle.
For the outfitting. I understand that. I understand the outfitting. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you.
So I did, and that kind of led to the point I just wanted to, follow up on the question that came from Councilman Williams, and I believe Chief Riley replied to him this morning. You'll notice that there's a pretty significant difference in cost of the vehicles between purchase, quote unquote, purchase number 1 and purchase number 2. These 3 vehicles in purchase number 1 are, again, around $34,000. The similar vehicle in purchase number 2 are going to be about $30,000 more, and that's just because of the equipment and so forth that is needed in order to get those. And correct me if I'm wrong, Chief. Those are the road patrol vehicles that require the equipment and upfitting. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so I wanted to move on to the second component for what I kind of refer to as purchase number 2, which involves 6 vehicles. There are 4 Dodge Durangos, another 4 Intercept SUV, similar to the one that's part of the 3 in the first purchase. And then we've got 1 Ford F-150, Ford pickup F-150. So that's a total of 6 vehicles. Again, these vehicles all include the equipment factored into the cost, so they're going to be higher. The Durangos are running a little bit more than $62,000 each. This Ford Intercept is $63,000, and then the Ford F-150 is a total of just under $68,000. So the total cost of these 6 vehicles is a total of $382,000. This one, unlike the first one, would be financed over 4 years is what we're currently proposing. And it would be an annual cost of right around $98,000. And that would be for 4 years, starting with this current fiscal year. And that's, part one of the things that we need to get funded via the budget amendment for this second purchase. So I wanted to pause here. The next step is for me to kind of go into how we're proposing to fund it with the budget amendment, but I wanted to pause here to see if there are any questions before I go forward.
I have a question. As far as the $50,000 that will be coming from the public safety payroll grant, is that just for the first year, or is that for the multiple years over the 4-year span?
So you kind of, I hadn't really got into that, and hopefully everybody understands what Councilman Chisholm was referring to. Another item that we're introducing this evening is the public safety. It's at the state level. It's called the Public Safety Public Health Payroll Reimbursement Grant, payroll reimbursement. It was through the CARES Act that the state received several billion dollars from the federal government. And one of the programs that they put together for local units of government was this payroll reimbursement grant, essentially reimbursing cities such as Inkster for April and May public safety payrolls. We applied last Monday, I believe we got the funding. It's a little bit different because they're kind of giving us the money as we, shortly after we applied. I mean, the money was kind of explained that it would be awarded. So it's not the typical grant. We received half of what we requested. That's not anything different from for us. Pretty much everyone in the program, because the program was oversubscribed, there was more money was requested than was available. So they only funded 50% of the request. So we received $236,000 because, and getting to your question, Councilman Chisholm, because this money would be included in this fiscal year, we're not really able to appropriate it for future fiscal years. The way that we're structuring the transaction, it would be the next 3 fiscal years where we would need to make that appropriation. That's one issue. Now, if we wanted to set aside those monies to go against, future payments, keeping in mind, it's $236,000. This purchase is for $400,000, so it would only partially cover it. But, and we'll be getting into this later, we also have another, while we're asking for $50,000 of that $236,000 for this purchase, we also have a forthcoming request, and we'll get into that with the fire department for some more of those monies. So we don't, one, it can't fully cover the purchase, and then additionally, we also have a plan for some more of those funds. That out of that $236,000.
Okay, thank you.
Through the chair. I mean, if no one else have any questions, I have another question on it, but I didn't know if any.
I just have a quick one.
Okay. Hold on 1 second. Councilman Williams?
Yeah, I just want to make a statement. After talking with the chief, I was excited because I think it's something a long time overdue. One of the purchases that he did, he got that truck, the scale truck, and how these trucks been tearing up our roads and various things like that, and we haven't been taking advantage of it. I thought that was one great idea, that we got a person been trained to go out there and run that scale truck. And believe me, we can catch a whole lot of them because they've been tearing our roads up for years.
What
truck? I just
truck?
want to make that statement.
What truck was that?
That's the scale truck that he called it.
And what is that, the F-150?
A pickup.
And what is that supposed to do?
It carried the scales around when they stop. I'll let the chief explain it to you better. But when the truck go down, they see a truck come in overloaded and various stuff like that. They weigh that and they charge them by the weight.
Chief Riley,
like you're on the expressway.
Do we have a weight limit in Michigan?
On your road, yes, ma'am.
And get in. You gotta let me in.
We can hear you.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
You in?
You can hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. There's a weight limit for the roads in Michigan and whatnot. And yes, the goal is for that truck is to put our scales in and also to utilize it for the large trucks that go in and out of our city.
You needed an F-150 for that? Oh, just for the scale.
The scale and the truck itself would act, it be all encompassed. So, when they're driving that truck, they have that abilities. I mean, it ain't just like it's sidelined for one, for that. It has many purposes, but that's one of the main purposes.
So you opening up another division just for that then, right?
No, what we would do is we have people that are trained for traffic, and we have officers that have been trained for that for those scales and whatnot. The goal is that, and they do traffic as well. The goal is that they just have to do double duty. They may come out there one day and deal with particular traffic speeding, and they may come out there the next day and deal with the big trucks.
I'm excited about it because the simple fact is we never had it, and trucks have been coming through our area, Michigan, Inkster Road, various things, heavy loads, speed, tearing out roads up, and various things like that. So, and most cities like Westland and other cities, it takes a very good advantage. I bet you they rake in about maybe $500,000 a year just by stopping them trucks and getting them for overweight and various things. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm just looking excited because I feel that we can do the same in our community.
Okay, Councilwoman Watley, you had a question?
I do have a question, Mayor. I'd like to know if these vehicles have already been purchased.
We have them. We do have an order out for them, ma'am. It's just like anything. We order out, and they'll let us know when they come in. But we do have an order out, and we can take possession of the vehicles. I mean, it's been a long time. COVID has pushed a lot of things back, but there are some inventory out there.
Okay, because I'm confused here. If they've already been purchased, and you're seeking council's approval to purchase, I would think you were supposed to. Who authorized the purchase of these prior to council's approval?
I mean, we haven't purchased any vehicle. We have vehicles on order that were available. That, hey, we asked if they'll become available to let us know. But as far as anybody going out and signing for them or anything of that nature, no, ma'am.
Okay, because I thought the thing said they were ready for pickup or something of that nature.
Oh, now they're all, yes, there is inventory that's available for pickup. Absolutely.
Okay, just clarifying.
Yeah, absolutely. There is inventory available for pickup, and if we don't get it, we don't get it, and then there's nothing to pick up, and that's in that. I mean,
that was my only question.
I don't know what else to
question,
say.
Chief. I don't think we got that far yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, Mayor Pro Tem, did you have a question?
Yeah. Sandra had answered some of them if the vehicles was ordered, but I want you guys, you, Mayor, or whoever, can explain to this body. When we went through the budget session, we all knew that the police department needed cars. That was not a question about that. But at that time, due to budget constraints, we was not able to order cars. Not saying it didn't need it. So my point is, this is going to take us further down. Our budget is going to be out of whack. It's going to be messed up. We got $400,000 or $500,000 in the police budget that is for the marijuana people to pay. Have we received that yet? Mayor, have we received that yet?
No, we haven't. We're actually working on that now, but that'll actually come in quarters. So that wouldn't be
okay, but we still need, okay. Then
let me just make sure, just for point of clarification, this is, you said it'll throw the budget out of whack. This is money that we're asking inside of the police budget to be moved around inside of the police budget.
Okay.
And that's why you have the item before you in writing.
Okay, so
step off into that. I think
vehicles have not been ordered. If this is this body not to approve this budget, because here's the thing, we just laid off 5 police officers. Okay.
Firefighters.
Wait. We just laid off 5 police officers, and it was already noted in our budget. We had a fund balance of $900 and some thousand dollars of fund balance. We all know the police officers need cars, but to go to this magnitude to try to get 7, I think that's crazy. I mean, how do we justify that to our residents or to the police department or to the fire department that we're doing this? Now, hold up. Now, the money that we got for the CARES Act, wasn't that supposed to be divided between the police and fire? Or how was that supposed to be divided up? Overtime. Do you have a figure right now or how much overtime that the police department and the fire department accrued since the COVID started? That was supposed to cover that, correct? Or or if that's not right.
Well, on the money from the CARES Act, that money came after the budget deliberations. So one, that money is not in the police nor in the fire department budget. That money will, basically that money is just into the general fund. We do have flexibility in terms of how we would be using that. But we had not really determined any specific use, and again, we got the money a week ago. We had applied over a month or so ago. Money, the state moved pretty quickly with processing all of these because almost every jurisdiction across the state applied. So these monies were not earmarked for any particular purpose. We do have some guidelines in terms of how they're to be used, but by and large, it's to help cities that experience increased costs tied to the COVID, even to the effect that, again, this money was really a reimbursement on things that we had in April and May of last fiscal year, but the state is not letting us go back and book it against any of those expenses. They're putting that money all into the new fiscal year.
Okay, so now would it be fair to say that would be really silly for us to take money out of that to buy a car, and we know the overtime for both is going to be sitting there, and we need something to cover that? I don't even understand why we're having this conversation if these vehicles haven't been ordered. Because it sounds like when you do a budget amendment is the cars we have.
Yeah.
It's
I think we just need to get clear. My understanding is that, and I don't know if Chief Riley can answer this or whomever, but we have placed an order for the vehicles.
Placed an order for the vehicles, but how can someone place an order for vehicles and it never came through council? That's my concern. How can anybody order any vehicles and it didn't come through council? How you gonna just order vehicles and we haven't said nay or yay whether or not we want to purchase these and mess this budget up? I'm not talking to you, Darren. I'm just talking to the mayor. Can you explain to me? Because when a budget amendment comes before us, it's already been done. It's a done deal. Now, if it wasn't a done deal, it would have been in a council request to authorize for the police department, for the fire department, the police department to buy cars. This is a budget amendment, which means these cars have been ordered. So I want to know who ordered these cars without coming to council. Because these cars have been ordered. I've been on council long enough. If you want a council request, it would be on the council request. This is a budget amendment, which means these cars have been ordered. So I want to know who ordered these cars without coming to council. Can someone tell me that?
Can I speak on that for a minute?
No, hold on, George. Oh. I'm asking the mayor to explain to me. I want to know who ordered these cars without council's consent.
Yeah, and if I could, again,
Darren, I'm sorry to cut you off.
All right.
You the treasurer. I'm asking the mayor. Who ordered these vehicles without council's consent?
Again, the vehicles will either be purchased by approval of the council or not.
This
So when the
it's on
questions
a,
call,
it's
when the
on a
questions
budget
call,
amendment.
ma'am, you've been going on and on. So if you want the answer straight, I just gave it to you. When the
Okay,
request come
well,
before
you
you,
see,
you will have.
let's see the purchase order. We would like to see the purchase order before we make a decision on this.
Well, you said we, so
The council would like to see.
you don't speak for the entire council, but at the
Okay,
same
but can you provide the council with the purchase order so we can see when the cars will be ordered?
all right. I don't have a problem with that.
You have a problem? Why would you have a problem with that?
I said I don't have a problem with that.
Well, maybe we should table this until we get that, because I want to know. Now, I could be wrong now. I'm not saying I don't have all the right answers, but I do know a budget amendment is something we have already spent. That comes before council.
No, we spent no money.
We haven't spent the money.
We spent no money.
It's been spent. That's why we.
Okay, well, I'd like to see.
Make the purchase.
Okay, well, I'd like to see the purchase order.
Okay.
Now, can I say something?
Go ahead, Councilman Williams.
First of all, this goes way back when we discussed about the four vehicles. You all remember. And one while we came back, we said we wasn't going to purchase the 4 cars, Sister Howard. And then another thing we said, well, since we put that other back in there, that we would consider purchasing the other 4 cars. Okay, that's what he got down there as a purchase.
Yeah.
Okay, there was, I understand there was grant money came in for both of these orders. Okay, that's how they got ordered. Now, Aaron can speak to that. Now, for as what the money was for being used for. Okay, now I'm saying this: even if we don't get the cars, what would eat us up? What would eat us up? If anybody with knowledge of this city would eat us up right now, is these regular police cars, auxiliary cars that we got running to houses on emergencies. Okay, you know, I can understand what Sister Howard is saying, but I don't understand, number one, when grants come in for a certain purpose, and if we got the money, and bring it to us. We know for a fact it's up to us to approve it or deny it, okay? But I don't, but I wish you could have seen over in my area, okay, police cars coming down the street in auxiliary cars. Okay, I just call them auxiliary cars, okay? And the time it took them to get there and various things like that. You know, our safety comes first. And I feel like we have the money, we got grant money coming in, and then we're switching the grant money. And then what we're gonna save, and when we talk about what's gonna happen, I guarantee you, I stake my life on it, Kim, and I'll sign off as a council person. We're gonna save a lot of money on maintenance by getting these new vehicles. Because we got over $100,000 in our budget for maintenance. So that's telling you that we're not going down the right road. And with these new vehicles under warranty and various things like that, we're gonna save that money. You can take that money and put in with that order.
Right.
I mean, let's safety comes first.
So is that what we laid the firefighters off for? Just to get the police department some new vehicles? Is that what you're telling me?
Your firefighters that you had, the firefighters that you had to lay off, they was working there many years, Kim, and under grants. When the grant
it still don't matter. It was coming out of general fund.
You couldn't hire them. You didn't have no money. I mean, you didn't have no money to hire them. Okay, and then if this grant money came in, we should be able to go and get the vehicle and put some safety out here for the people.
Yeah, just so we're clear, I'm not sure, Councilman Williams. I just want to make sure I understand. Were you asking if there was a grant to cover the second purchase, or what were you? I'm not sure if you were asking a question or if you were just referencing the first purchase.
The second purchase that we had, we supposed to have the CARES Act money to cover that.
No, that's not the case.
So why don't you explain it to us?
Well, we're now proposing to use the CARES Act. The CARES Act money just got awarded in the last couple of months. we're proposing that as a solution, part of that money as a solution to cover this purchase. But that was not, that was not the intent of that money. Again, that money was never designated for any specific purpose. And so, no, there's no second grant that was made to cover the purchase of these vehicles. Like I said, we have a supplemental item or unrelated item with the fire department to use some of these monies. And just like in that situation, again, that grant was not designated for any specific purpose. We do have a proposition. We will tonight be proposing something for that grant, but we just want to be clear that we didn't apply for that grant as any kind of indication that these vehicles were to be paid out of that grant, which is consistent with what I responded to with the Councilman Chisholm's question.
Okay, Darren, let's get into how you proposing to pay for it.
Okay. So for the second purchase, again, we're trying to cover just right around $100,000. The amount for the 6 vehicles that are proposing to be financed, we're looking at right around $98,000. Then, if you recall, we had that extra $1,500 from the $100,000 purchase under item number 1. So that puts us right at about $100,000 that we need to fund. So $50,000 of that, again, is what we're proposing to pull from the funding that we got from the state via the CARES Act. We would reduce so that's $50,000. We would reduce the police department's budget by $31,000. For $15,000 of that would be for vehicle maintenance, and $16,000 of that would be for prisoner maintenance. So that would be $31,000 from there, along with $50,000 from the CARES Act. That gets us to $81,000. And then there's $19,000 that the city has recently received from Ford as a settlement. We would want to take those settlement funds and apply it against the purchase, which gets us to right around that $100,000 figure, which would cover the total cost of purchase number 1. I'm sorry.
A settlement for what?
Oh, so it was a settlement for a vehicle that had gotten destroyed. And Chief may be able to speak to it in a little more detail, but there was a vehicle at the fire department. I don't know if it was one or multiple, but a vehicle had gotten destroyed
Darren, hold on right there, Darren. You said destroyed. The vehicle actually had go ahead, Chief. Explain what happened with these vehicles.
What happened to the vehicle, the vehicle caught a fire and the vehicle burned up, and Ford looked at it because we've had multiple issues with that vehicle and those model vehicles. And when it burned up, negotiations went back and forth, and Ford paid us it's around $19,000 for that particular vehicle because it burned up. Even though it was out of warranty, they knew that we had kept good record on it and been back and forth in and out of the shop, and we reached agreement, and they paid us for the vehicle, paid us $19,000.
So this was a manufactured deal,
right?
Go ahead, Darren.
Okay, so that $19,000 has been received by the city as a settlement. The one thing is that money is FY20 money. So because the check was issued in FY20, we just received the funds, but it'll be going against fiscal year 20. So we would really have to ask for, because of the way that the budget appropriations work, that money is going to be booked in FY20. that money's not going to be in FY21. So we would have to ask for another $19,000 on top of the 50,000 and essentially in new money. And what I'm saying is, you know, the 50,000 from the grant is new revenue. So that's 50,000. We're reducing some of the department's expenses by 31,000. But then we need an additional 19,000 in revenue, which is not in this fiscal year. It is booked against last fiscal year, but we would need to add some additional, we're not really adding any additional revenues because those revenues wouldn't be available this fiscal year. We would be adding some net expenses for an additional $19,000.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
Sandra Watley here.
Yes.
For Mr. Carrington, are there no rollover provisions in our budget process? I mean, if something is in your budget for 1920 and you know it's there, you can't roll it over into the 21 budget?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, we you know, at the time, I'm not going to say we, I was not aware of this at the time that, you know, the budget was being put together. And there's basically two ways to do that, Councilwoman Watley. One is we can either, you know, put the appropriation or the revenue, that item back into back into the budget for the new fiscal year, or we can try and you know, essentially wall off those funds. You know, we can kind of say, hey, there's money that's in this fiscal year's budget, and we want to kind of set that aside for purposes that are going to be used for you know, sometime in the future. Kind of like what we do with the emergency loans. Each year we commit $50,000 towards the emergency loan within each budget. And so those are some of the steps that you can take. You know, you can commit funds in a budget that basically it'll put it into the fund balance, but it protects it for that next fiscal year. So you can either commit those funds or you can just, you know, put them back into the budget during the budget process.
So no rollover, right? Or yes, rollover?
We did not do any rollover, no.
But you could have.
In theory, yes.
In theory, not in fact?
In theory, in fact, yes, ma'am. I stand corrected. Thank you for that clarification.
I'm totally confused because math is hard. I'm like Barbie, but I'm trying to understand how you have money specifically earmarked for a certain thing, like these vehicles, like the first three vehicles, and you can't make it some sort of enterprise or special fund that you can use whenever.
Well, the first three vehicles are not a problem because we had the budget, we had the revenue and the expenses both in the budget last year, and none of those numbers hit the budget. In actuality, none of those numbers hit the budget. So that's really not an issue. You know, sometimes if you expend the money in one year and the money's come in the next, that can, you know, sometimes be a timing issue. But that's not the case here. That didn't occur. We didn't spend any of those funds. We didn't request any of those funds. So nothing actually showed up, even though those funds were budgeted. Nothing hit the books in last fiscal year. So for those first three vehicles, basically we had the grant kind of in our pocket from a revenue side, waiting to spend the money, and now that's what we're doing. So
we need to put another $100,000 into the budget
for purchase number 2.
No, we don't have to put anything in for purchase number 1, right? Nothing.
Purchase number 1, it's a net. So we saying, hey, let's put 100,000 on the revenue, 100,000 on the expense. It'll cancel itself out. But we do need you just to appropriate those funds so we can process that transaction.
Okay, Just for clarity's sake, and because this is somewhat confusing, I'm going to ask for some of the same things that Mayor Pro Tem is asking for as far as this next addition of vehicles. I'm not saying that, no one is saying they don't need them. We're just concerned about how we're going about appropriating this idea. And to be honest, it won't be the first time that the financial cart has been put before the horse. So I guess I'm just trying to make sure that doesn't happen again, because council is in charge of the funds, so they have to understand how they're being spent. So that's my take on it.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, Councilman Chisholm.
I was just going to ask for clarity purposes, and this might be for the treasurer or the city clerk, just because looking at how it's listed on here as a budget amendment, but it has two different purchases in there, and there's, just seems to be some more clarity being desired for purchase number 2. Can we split this into 2 separate resolutions and at least move forward with the funds that were already there? And then once the second information, or the additional information, I should say, is acquired, whatever we're going to do, if council decides to table that second part tonight, or if we decide to vote on it, whatever, can we put it into 2 different purchases so we're not voting on the whole thing together and say it doesn't go through and then we sitting here, at a standstill? Or is that possible?
Yeah, I mean, if that's what's desired, I'm not sure, what the timing needs are. So we're talking about splitting it into 2, passing number 1 this evening and coming back with item number 2.
Yeah, well, just for clarity purposes, because it was a lot of questions and a lot of confusion with purchase number 2. That way we just got them separate, and we know for a fact what we're doing on purchase number 1, but then purchase number 2, if it goes into further discussion during the meeting, if it gets voted up, if it gets voted down or tabled, at least it's not prohibiting what you're trying to do with purchase number 1.
I got you.
That's why I said either for you or the city clerk, I wasn't sure if we could split it just by how it was all packaged together in the request for council action.
I understand, yeah.
Mr. Chair.
Pleasure of the council, Mr. Carrington, how they want to do it.
Yes.
Mr. Chair.
I think that's a good point. Let's do that if we need to move forward. Go ahead. Was that Councilman Shaw?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
I just had a quick question about, do we need to purchase all 6 vehicles, or can we look into purchasing half the vehicles, or is that an option?
Yeah.
It's totally up to us.
Yeah.
It's put before us to say what we want or what we don't want.
Well, I mean, I can look at, looking at half of it. It depends on what my colleagues want to do. But my suggestion is, we can take a look at it and can bring us a price back as we look at the second option.
Okay.
And Darren, what's the figure that we're talking about per year?
For the 6 vehicles, we're looking at
98,000, right?
98,000 for year number 1. It's a total of 382,000. And for this year, this current fiscal year, would be 98,000. So we're looking at four payments of 98,000.
We're spending at 100 and something, 100 and what for maintenance, for vehicle maintenance?
I'm sorry, Mayor?
We're spending 100 and what for vehicle maintenance?
This fiscal year,
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, Chief.
Can you pull up last year's maintenance total? That'll give you an idea of what we spent on maintenance last fiscal year.
Yeah, so for last fiscal year on vehicle maintenance, we spent a total of 115,000. And this fiscal year, we have budgeted we have a budget. We budget 100,000.
Okay.
On average, Chief, on average, what does it look like as it relates to your fleet and vehicles breaking down or in the shop?
Well, it's just unfortunate. We do, because we're out of warranty now with those other 3 vehicles and so forth. Then of course from now on, everything we do, it's going to cost us more. That's why I was trying to get an idea. Right now, we were very fortunate at 115,000 last year, and so we're looking at 100,000 this year. But with them being out of warranty and continue having problems, and we have no new ones, patrol, that'll probably, I'm pretty sure that's going to go up. It's going to go up because we have no more that's under warranty, especially the patrol vehicles. And those are the workhorses, the patrol vehicles.
Well, and that's about 3 of them, right?
Well, no, we've got the older ones, because that's what's killing us too. We've got we got a couple of the old Chargers still left, and even the we call the Ford. I can't even think now. The old Fords. We still have a couple of those left in the fleet, because we just trying to keep them going. And unfortunately, bad roads, they just wearing out, and we just have to replace them. So we can imagine that next year the cost will go up, but we don't have any, if we don't get any injection of any new ones. So
my question is that you have 3 that's going out of warranty right now, right, Chief?
They're gone. They went out last year. Well, yeah, at the end of last year, they went out of warranty. Those were the 3 Fords. And I mean, that's why we had a hard time getting that 19,000 from Ford, because it was out of warranty.
Right.
That's why we had going back and forth. They originally said, hey, it is what it is. But then we kept telling them, say, look, we kept bringing this car back in for service. And so they finally agreed to give us the 19,000 Ford. But they're all out of warranty now. And so that is an issue.
Okay. So we're approaching the 7 o'clock mark, actually a couple of minutes away. So we'll stay on time tonight. We're gonna start the meeting at 7 for our regular council meeting. We got a couple of minutes.
Get out.
Mr. Mayor,
Ma'am?
can Darren explain to me the $16,000 that would come from the reduction in the budget for prisoner maintenance?
Yep, go ahead, Nair.
Sure. Yeah. Just I think a couple of things. One, based on what was spent last year. And again, when we talk about prisoner maintenance, to your question, just so everybody understands, talking about costs associated with housing prisoners and so forth. I think a couple of things is, one, the money from last fiscal year was below what had been budgeted we're at a similar amount, so we just weren't incurring as many costs. And then also think, and Chief Riley may be able to speak to this, also think that with COVID, I think there's probably been a decrease in the amount of housing of prisoners since the springtime. So
Yes.
based on those factors, we think we won't be spending as much money as had been initially budgeted there.
Yes.
Okay. First, I'm sorry. I have one more question, and then we can move on, Mayor. I would like to know the fire department's overtime, vehicle maintenance, how much we paid in that. And also I'd like to know, from the start of COVID, which was in March or April, until now, what have we spent in overtime? Because we didn't get our actuals to budget, the report for this month yet. But I would like to know from the police department and the fire department, starting in March, how much did we go over in our budget as far as overtime for the runs that incurred in that time due to the COVID?
Okay, I'll get that information for you.
Okay. And that's my concern. And like I said, I don't have any problems I know the police need some vehicles. I understand that, but I don't want to take this budget out of whack. We speak on this year budget. The next 3 years, we got $98,000. We still ain't got no revenue coming in. $389,000, we're gonna have to pay the state back. I don't understand how we can sustain that and we don't have anything coming in. So when they talked about in the state, once again, about council not doing or not knowing what's going on, I think that's a prime example. I can't see, once again, laying off 5 police firefighters. I mean, we could have kept them. I mean, to me, it's just like we laid five firefighters off just so we can substitute that to get cars for the police department. And also too, when you talk about the miles on these police cars, when the last time we spoke on that, it was 17 officers taking home cars. Maybe we should look at that. And maybe we should take a look at that, because that puts miles on a car as well. Now, 17 is too much for me, but maybe we should take a look at that going forward. And, you know, possibly if this what this body's decided to do to get these cars, maybe these cars stay in a lot. And then the miles won't get raked up because we only 6.2 square miles. But when we got officers taking cars home, that rakes up miles.
That's not just doing the miles.
Well, I mean, when the car gets in a lot of miles, that's when stuff starts breaking down. Now, those 3 vehicles that we got, were they replaced by any vehicles? Did these administration have vehicles before they got these new 3 on the first and purchase number 1?
Yeah, so some of the vehicles that we got, the older vehicles, the unmarked vehicles, we tend to take them out of service. But the problem fell when we got ready to take some of them out of service. The ones we had in service broke down.
Okay.
So we're trying to keep cars on the road as best we possibly can, scavenge from some of them as best we possibly can. So, you know, we caught between a rock and a hard place, ma'am. And it's just that, and the cars that are raking up the mileage are our patrol cars. Those are the patrol cars that we get in and day in. Those are the ones that are raking up the mileage and whatnot. And that's why some of the older cars that were once investigative cars, we were able to kind of like transform into patrol cars because they had less mileage on them. But now they're picking up mileage and they're breaking down.
Chief, I definitely understand your passion. I definitely understand what we're dealing with. Let's stay on time.
Clarification,
Stay on target.
Yes, I apologize. I know you got to get to 7 o'clock.
Point of clarification.
All right, go ahead, Councilman Williams.
So if we already got the 3 vehicles, I'm like Councilman Cleveland now, and we already had gave them okay to purchase them. Why are we doubling that back on to the second order?
So again, it's still on the agenda for tonight. So we're going to talk about that when we get to the agenda. So let's get off into our regular meeting. All right. Time is now 7:04. We're still live, Troy. I see. Good. All right. I'd like to call this meeting to order of the Inkster City Council. Would you all rise with me and pledge allegiance to the flag? I pledge allegiance
to the United States
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty
and justice for all.
All right. Councilman Williams?
Let us
Prayer,
pray.
please.
Father God, we come right now, Father, with love in our hearts. Father, realizing that you represent love, Father, and your son represents love in action. Father, as we come to take care of the business of the city of Inkster, our love city, Father, we ask that you step in the midst and touch the hearts of our council person as we lead this city to higher heights. In the name of Jesus, I pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, roll call, please.
Mayor Wimberly.
Here.
Councilwoman Wiley.
Present.
Councilwoman Washington.
Here.
Councilman Shaw.
Here.
Councilwoman Howard. Mayor Pro Tem Howard, I'm sorry.
Here.
And Councilman Williams.
Here.
and Councilman Chisholm.
Here.
We have 7 present tonight, Mayor. We do have a quorum.
All right, moving right along. Approval of the agenda with the changes that was recommended in orientation for item B. Is that the pleasure of the council to split those into 2 actions?
So
Yes.
moved, Mr. Chair.
Support.
All right, it's been moved and properly supported. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Shaw,
Yes.
Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
Yes.
Councilmember Washington,
Yes.
Councilmember Wiley,
Yes.
and Councilmember Chisholm. Mayor,
Yes.
we have 6 yeas. And Mr. Mayor, if Mr. Carrington can either email me or send me the new language that will be.
Mr. Carrington, please.
Yes. Yep.
All right, good, thank you. All right, bring us to item for presentations on the eviction diversion program that's presented by Wayne Metro. Do we have anyone on the line? And Troy, if we can cue it up.
Mr. Mayor, when you talking about having them on the line, would they be calling in or are they here with video access?
Yeah, so they should be actually on the line. Troy should have all that set up.
Okay.
The person that's on the line. Troy, do you have the number of the person that's supposed to be speaking? Troy, we're looking at your shared screen right now.
Yes, if Councilman Chisholm can prompt them to raise their hand and I can cue them in. I'm trying to do it from the back end.
Okay. What was the name of the group again, Mr. Mayor?
It's Wayne Metro.
Wayne Metro. If a representative from Wayne Metro, there, Michelle Robinson, I see you. Oh, there we go.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
And Troy, what's going on? We're looking at your emails right now. Okay. All right, Michelle, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
Hi.
Hi, would I be able to share my screen by any chance?
Troy, let's give her access to do that, or Steve, please.
Yeah, Troy, I have to give her access from his side.
Okay. Troy, give her access, please.
And Michelle, by any chance, do you have anybody else on the line with you that might have come out?
Yes. Oops, I'm sorry. Yes, I do. I have Jerome Drain and Charlotte Carrillo.
Okay, the 9875 number.
That is a possibility.
Okay.
Just had them raise their hand.
They had it up. That's why I asked.
Okay.
Let me see.
And Michelle, whenever you're ready.
Okay, I will go ahead and get started. I'll start with introducing myself. A question, can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, because the way I have this set up, okay, this part.
Yes, this is Jerome Drain with Wayne Metro, also on the call.
Welcome, Jerome.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. This is Charlotte Carrillo, Director of Supportive Housing and Homeless Services, also with Wayne Metro.
Welcome.
Okay, so it skipped slide number 1. I'll introduce myself as well. My name is Michelle Robinson, and I'm the Executive Director of Basic Needs with Wayne Metro. And we're here to share some information with this body regarding the eviction diversion program. The eviction diversion funds were awarded to Wayne Metro along with other continuum of care bodies across the state to assist with preventing evictions across the state from roughly about August through the end of December. And we are sharing this information and asking for your assistance in getting the word out because the grant end date, the tentative end date of these funds is December the 31st. And right now there are tentatively no extensions for the funding. And as there are some moratoriums, right now the CDC has a moratorium on evictions. However, if residents aren't receiving assistance right now, so if they're not proactive in getting those funds, come January, it doesn't excuse the back rent. So at that point, they would still owe a rental arrearage to a landlord, and then that amount would be greater than it is today. So just kind of in outlining eviction diversion, EDP is our eviction diversion program, and is designed to quickly provide rental assistance to households who are behind in their rent. And the eviction diversion program, as I had stated earlier, the funds came down through the state through MISHDA. So it's a collaboration between our agency, Wayne Metro. We are the continuum of care lead for out Wayne County, Lakeshore Legal Aid, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, Access, and then also the courts and landlord tenants to reduce the number of evictions across the county. So there's a twofold goal for the eviction diversion program. The first goal is to keep individuals housed during this crisis. Secondly, to reduce evictions on household records. As you may or may not be aware, when an individual goes through the court process, if it goes all the way through to the end where there's a judgment and or a writ, that judgment lands on that individual's record, and it can stay there for a period of time and have effects on their credit, and it could affect them getting housing in the future. So the other goal in this is to facilitate landlords receiving payment on those rental arrears during this time. So the payments don't go to the tenants, they go directly to the landlords. In terms of program eligibility, the eligibility requirement is primarily an income requirement. Tenants can be up to 100% of the area median income, and the arrears fall right in line with COVID-19 and some of the former orders that were put in place as of March the 1st of 2020. So the arrears balance had to occur on or after March the 1st. And how the assistance is broken out in terms of qualification. Any tenant that's between 0 and 50% of the AMI, so 0 meaning zero income up to 50% of the AMI, could be eligible for complete arrears payments with a $3,500 maximum dollar amount in terms of assistance and up to 2 months of rent moving forward. Any tenants that are between 50 and 80% of the area median income could be eligible for up to 75% of that amount owed, and 81 to 100 could receive up to 65% of the amount owed with that maximum dollar amount of $3,000. And if there are other payment plans that are needed on the resident's behalf, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services could assist with those payments if needed. And for just kind of resident facing, so how does this program help the resident? The first thing that would happen is that an eviction wouldn't go on your record, as we would be able to keep this out of court. Secondly, there would be relief from a large bill and minimal, if any, attorney involvement. So there may be some cases where a client does need an attorney to kind of shepherd them through a court proceeding, but this would guarantee that they would have that assistance available to them, and it would be minimal assistance if needed. And for all of our residents in out Wayne County, in order to apply, if they do not have court paperwork, they would call directly into our call center line at Wayne Metro, area code 734-284-6999. If they have a court summons, demand for possession, or other paperwork, they will call the legal aid line. the Lakeshore Legal Aid line. Once they speak with either us or Lakeshore Legal Aid, they would complete an application, and there are a couple of documents, a couple of vital documents that are needed for us to render the assistance. So proof of income, copy of the lease, identification, and any court paperwork. And it's also important to note that through our eviction diversion program, we service out Wayne County, and out Wayne County are all the cities in Wayne County with an exception of Detroit, Highland Park, and Hamtramck with the direct assistance. And kind of last but not least, if you all run across someone who is a resident of those 3 cities, but they're also in need of eviction help, they can call 866-313-2520 or reach out via Detroit Eviction Help, and their process is the same. And then just kind of last but not least, some parting words for residents who may reach out regarding assistance. Don't wait for the CDC moratorium to end, because as the moratorium is going on, the arrearages are still accruing. There's no financial relief from the moratorium itself, so that back rent will still be owed. And we can help now through December 31st of this year, as the funds are slated to end at that time. And again, here are the where to call numbers for both out Wayne County and Detroit. Again, out Wayne County, including the city of Inkster, will call directly into our call center at area code 734-284-6999. And does anyone have any questions or anything for me?
Yes. Will that PowerPoint presentation be available to the city clerk or our media people so we can have a copy of it to refer to?
Yes. If it has not been forwarded already, we can forward the PowerPoint presentation to you, and we also have a flyer.
Okay, that would be good, the PowerPoint. Thank you. That was all.
All right, any other questions?
I have a quick question. How does it work for those who are receiving unemployment benefits?
So for an individual who's receiving unemployment, they are definitely eligible for this assistance. For the most part, in terms of eligibility, there are only 2 sets of individuals who would not be eligible for assistance. The first would be an individual that's over 100% of the area median income. And to give you all a little bit of background, the majority of our clients fall between 0 and 50%. So we haven't had the income issue. If you're over income, you wouldn't be eligible. And for this particular funding source, if you have not received a notice to quit or demand for possession, and that is if you haven't received it today, you wouldn't be eligible for this funding source. However, there are other forms of rental assistance available. So we would still encourage them to call our Connect Center because we could connect them with other funding.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Councilman Shaw.
Ms. Robinson, you talked about the medium income. What's the dollar amount for the medium income? I didn't get that.
Okay, I can send over the dollar amount for the median income as well. To give you a little bit of background, roughly for about a family of 4, you're looking at about $52,800.
Wow.
And that's at 50% of AMI. So 100% is a larger number.
Oh, that's nice.
Wow, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Good evening. This is Jerome Drain from Wayne Metro. There was a question asked about the presentation and the flyer. I have forwarded that over to the mayor's office. but we can resend it out to any representatives that you would like for us to send this information out to.
Yeah, we have it already. So yeah, that's what I wanted to have a presentation tonight, and then we're forwarding the information so everybody had a reference point. So thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate the information, and I know that our community does also. I see a raised hand. Is that Charlotte? Did you want to jump in there, Charlotte? Steve? Charlotte? Unmute her.
Hi, thank you.
Hey, Charlotte.
Mayor Wembley, we had some data we promised to share this evening, and so I just wanted to make sure you all heard it.
Okay, go ahead.
So as of noon today, we've already assisted 29 households within the city of Inkster for a total of $102,000 with back and forward rental assistance. We have about another 64 households that are requesting assistance, and they're in different stages of the application process. So the total request that we have pending is about $156,000 in back rent. And based on the income reported from all of these households, we have about, all will qualify other than 2 who are likely to receive forward rental assistance moving forward.
That's great.
So I just wanted to make sure that everyone was aware of that. And then just a quick reminder to, and thank you to Michelle. I was set to present, and then I had a home issue, so she quickly jumped in for me, so thank you. But just one reminder that the landlord must also agree to participate in the program. So the tenant has to, apply, and then there's an application process for the landlord as well.
And just speak a little bit more about the landlord as it relates to just being able to participate. I know you had told me, but tell everybody. So the percentage that they would have to give up as it relates to the rent.
There you go.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so there's a 10%, the landlord has to agree to forgive 10% of what's owed in order to qualify for the program.
Okay.
Yeah. For the most part, we've seen landlords participate, and it looks like so far, all applications coming through the city of Inkster, the landlords have been willing to participate as well.
Great.
That's good news. All right. Thank you so very much, Charlotte. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Michelle, thank you so much for joining us. You guys have a good evening.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. Thank you for having us.
All right. Before we get off into the next presentation, Darren, you were the fire chief. You guys want to give a little bit of background about the next presentation for the Inkster firefighters before we bring that presentation up?
I think the fire chief is on by phone number.
There he is with his hand raised. I believe it's 1309.
I don't think that's him.
That's not him. Okay.
Yeah, that's not him. He's unmuted now.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Hey, Chief, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Good. Basically, what I did was put together a video presentation to try to explain the dire situation that the fire department is in currently with our medics and our ALS program, which is Advanced Life Support. So I wanted to put that together so that they could see the difference between a ALS program and a BLS, which is a basic life support. We've been in the ALS business for about 15 years in the city of Inkster now, and it's worked great. As we have an older community, and having that kind of medic service is viable, is very important in a city like Inkster. It also generates about $900,000 a year for the general fund. So it's a win-win program, but we are in a situation now where we could lose it. And that's due to retention of medics in our department. And that is due to the fact that we just do not pay anywhere near what our neighboring departments pay for paramedic services. Our guys are making a lot less money and they're quitting. They're leaving at a rapid rate out of the department. I've lost 35 guys since I've been here. So the only way to stop that problem is to put more money into the system. So hopefully this video will help the viewing audience to understand what an ALS program is.
Let's get off into it.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and citizens of Inkster. I wanted to take this opportunity tonight to talk to you about a problem we're having in the fire service here that's been ongoing since I've been employed here. We have a serious issue with retention. We're losing our paramedics at a rapid pace, and now our ALS emergency services system is in jeopardy. This is a system that you do not want to lose, especially in a city like Inkster with an older population. Paramedics across the country are in a shortage. Everybody's having trouble finding paramedics. When we get them here in Inkster, they stay long enough to get their license and then they go where the money is. Our problem is we can't afford to pay our medics like other departments can. So we have to fix that issue because I've gone through 35 medics since I've been here that have left. What I want to do tonight, though, is have one of my officers explain to you the difference between ALS and BLS emergency systems. That way you can understand what you're getting right now, which is an ALS service, and what you will eventually be getting, which is a BLS service, if we don't come up with a way to retain our firefighters. So Sergeant Richardson is going to lay that out for you tonight, and hopefully it'll make sense.
Thank you, Chief Hubbard, and good evening to everybody in on the meeting. As Chief said, my name is Sergeant Richardson, and I am the EMS training coordinator for the city of Inkster. Tonight I've been tasked to show you the difference between an ALS program and a BLS program. Our ALS program has been in service for approximately 15 years. We brought the program to the city, and once we showed them the advanced care that the citizens will receive, the city made the decision to go ALS. Unfortunately, that decision is in danger of being reversed and going back to a BLS system. On the table in front of me, I have the difference between what an ALS truck carries as opposed to what a BLS truck carries. At the time, being ALS, these are all on our trucks. The biggest thing you're going to see is this is our cardiac monitor. This does our vitals for every patient, and any heart patient, it tells us exactly what they have going on. These monitors end up running us about $31,000. Now, on the flip side of the table is what a BLS unit carries. These run us about $2,500, and I'm a big proponent of you get what you pay for. This monitor can handle any type of heart issue that a patient is having. This one can only handle the issues once the patient has actually gone into cardiac arrest. This one may get you to the hospital alive, and this is what we've used for the past 15 years to save several lives of people that got into cardiac arrest, and we were able to bring them out of it. The other big item that you're going to see is our drug box. Again, this is an ALS drug box. This allows us to solve a multitude of problems. The only problems that we aren't solving, it isn't just cardiac arrest. We have pain medications in here, pretty much everything we're going to need to get you to the hospital in a comfortable manner. This is the drug box for a BLS unit. As you can see, it comes in a Ziploc bag. If I open this up, you will see, as opposed to the dozens of medications in the ALS box, we have 3 drugs that are currently available in the BLS. One is Narcan, and we have 1 dosage, which is probably 75% of the time is never enough. The other is for breathing problems, and then the third is, it's basically for bee stings, for allergic reactions. Those are the only 3 drugs that we carry on a BLS unit. So if you don't have one of those 3 problems, we're going to be unable to help you. Basically, what BLS turns us into is a Uber with Band-Aids. The majority of our patients these aren't going to solve the problems or the crisis that they're in. The drug box that we have right now, the biggest thing that we have with that is, if you can imagine a car accident where you get pinned into the car and it takes us half an hour to get you out, we're able to manage your pain and get you to the hospital safely, and most times we're able to even erase the memory of that pain happening. As opposed to if we're a BLS unit, you will have no medication for that entire half an hour that you're trapped in that car. So that's one of the big things that we have. Again, this solves a multitude of problems, and this solves 3. This other little drug kit is just some of our standard drugs that we use most often during the day. So you actually have both kits. This bag here is our PEDS kit. It's for pediatric patients. You can see on the inside of this that we're going to be able to care for any size patient that we have, all the way from a infant to an adult. This is actually the adult intubation kit. So if somebody goes into cardiac arrest or they're having any sort of breathing problem, an adult or a pediatric patient we're going to be able to handle. Again, these are ALS only kits. As you can see, there's nothing to do with airway on the BLS side of this table. The biggest thing we're going to get at is the level of care that the citizens receive is much higher with the ALS than it is BLS. We would also be, if we were to revert to BLS, we would be the only department, minus a few departments in the UP, that would have reverted. Most cities see the care that their citizens receive, and obviously they want the highest level of care they can get. And there's also a revenue avenue to that. We're able to charge insurance companies a lot more and generate revenue for the cities when we have these kits as opposed to these. So here we are in the back of an ambulance. Most of the ambulances in the state of Michigan are set up in the exact same way. You can see on all these walls, we have multiple cabinet spaces, and that's where we keep our equipment, our drug boxes, and everything that we're going to need depending on the specific emergency that we're responding to. This rig is set up for an ALS unit. Unfortunately, if we were to go BLS, I get to eliminate all this equipment, and the only 2 cabinets I'm going to need are these 2 up here as BLS cabinets. None of this equipment, medication, or anything would be needed in a BLS department, so they all become empty cabinets as opposed to just using the 2 for BLS. We're imploring you to help us out with this situation. One of the other drawbacks to this, if we go BLS, is if both our rigs are busy in an emergency, so just imagine one of your loved ones having a 911 emergency, the nearest ambulance, if both of our BLS units are busy, is going to be coming out of Ann Arbor. We will not be able to count on our surrounding cities. We have a mutual aid pact with them that says we have to provide the same level of care that they provide, and then we cover each other. I have an ambulance right now in Westland taking one of their patients. However, if we go BLS, because again, we will be probably one of the only departments in the lower peninsula to go from ALS to BLS, we will violate our mutual aid pact. That means other cities will not respond to this, to the city for an emergency. So again, if one of your loved ones has an emergency and our 2 rescues are out on another run, your nearest ambulance is probably 35 minutes away. So please keep that in mind when you decide how you're going to help us tonight. Thank you.
This is exactly how I felt when I watched that for the first time. Actually did it in person for me and asked for them to actually put it in a video for council. So Darren, talk a little bit about, he hit on the financial side a little bit, but he didn't really get off into the crutch of it. Talk about that a little bit and what we're proposing to do.
Sure. So I think there's 2 components in regards to the statement that the mayor just made. When we look at ALS versus BLS, one is going to be on the cost side. What is it going to cost for us to maintain that ALS level of service? And we've been working, administration's been working with the union, and mayor and the fire chief have been having discussions with the union and their leadership trying to figure out how we can craft a plan with that. And then on the other side from the expense is if we do go to BLS, what impact will that have on the revenues? And so, one of the things that we've been able to really kind of establish that going to BLS is going to have a detrimental effect on our revenues. And when I say our revenues, I'm talking about the ambulance revenues. We've got about $900,000 that are budgeted for this year. And just because of the way that the payment fundings work, Medicare, Medicaid, and everything, if we're only offering BLS, we can't bill as much as we would as an ALS. So our financial budgets is based on us being at an ALS level. And kind of just a ballpark figure, we think it could hit revenues by about 40%, just by virtue of the fact that, same number of runs, but we would just be billing at a different rate because we're BLS. So those are really the two components. One right now we think is going to cost us, more than what we currently have, budgeted for the department in order for us to maintain that ALS service. And, the flip side of that, if we did go to BLS, didn't put more money into the department, went the BLS route, while it may not cost us anything directly from an expense side, we think that pretty sure it's going to have a substantive impact on revenues. Drilling down a little bit more on the expense piece, it really boils down to just the high turnover that the chief has spoken about. And one of the big reasons for that turnover is just due to the wage rates that we pay firefighters in Inkster. And so, again, the administration has had some discussions with the union, the mayor, the chief, and we want to look at putting some additional monies in there for the specific purpose of trying to eliminate or significantly reduce the turnover. And the number that we've soft circled is $150,000. We would again look to that CARES Act funding, that payroll reimbursement for this current fiscal year, that $236,000 that's been received from the state, and work with the union, the administration working with the union, using that number and figuring out the best way to put those funds back into the department in order to, just make it, create an environment where there's just going to be less turnover, where we're better able to compete and we're not seeing the exodus of firefighters going to other departments.
All right, questions?
Question.
Councilman Chisholm?
Just for clarity's purpose and layman's terms, the real reason, again, is because of the funding or wages that we're not able to pay those particular trained medics to run the ALS system? Because
yes.
Okay.
And Chief, I don't know if you want to answer this, but in short, and I think I probably have more of a layman's understanding of it. I think we're one of the few departments where people can come here as an EMT, stay for a couple of years, get that medic's license, and then they can go somewhere else and make more money. And so that turnover just creates that revolving door. So to whatever extent we can stem that, pay more so we can retain more.
Got you. And then my other additional question is, I had wondered about that when you all had first alerted us of the $236,000 grant, and would it go into public health and safety if the fire department was getting any of that? But I kind of had a intuition that they might be requesting some funds for that when, I guess, if you will, those funds go out because it's for the fiscal year. Are things being looked at in the future, in the midst of forward thinking on how to continue funding that? Because I know we may or may not be in a particular financial state to absorb that directly into the budget. So is it going to be like more grants we're going to be applying for? Because I don't know what the Fed is going to do with helping us out. So I just want, if more grants apply for, hopefully to sustain that until we can, generate more revenue to fully fund it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I certainly can respond. I mean, I think the direct answer to your question, Councilman Chisholm, is that we've certainly viewed this because this, hopefully, not hopefully, but we expect this is going to be a one-time grant, COVID-related funding. So this is just kind of to address this fiscal year. We are certainly looking at some different alternatives and ways that we can either raise additional revenue or look to cover the cost of those firefighters. But this is not, it's not designed to be a long-term solution. It's just, really to help us get through the end of this fiscal year.
Okay, and that's great. And I guess just a comment to my colleagues, I guess we got to really keep our eyes open too, because we've already laid off firefighters, and now we're blessed to have this grant on hand to hopefully sustain this, for a certain amount of time. But it looks like it's getting real serious in both of our public safety departments. And that's all I have.
Any other questions or comments on?
Oh, I have one.
Go ahead, Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay, the $900,000 that we receiving in revenue, if we cut that down, will we be able to pay, I guess, the standard? I'm not sure if it's a standard or how much they make. Is that something that you guys can look into?
Well,
because we have to have this service. This service, I mean, it ain't no ends and buts about it. We have to have this service. So is there any way that we can cut lower than $900,000 revenue to cover some of the costs to pay the paramedics?
Well, it's really just the opposite. It's the revenues being cut will have a negative budget impact.
Okay.
And that's kind of the box that we're in. While BLS is going to be saving us, kind of saving us some money in the short term, is going to cost us money in the short term too, because we're not going to be generating as much revenue. So it's almost kind of like we can spend, the figure that we're using is 150,000, and we'd probably be protecting somewhere 300,000 to 400,000 revenue.
Okay.
By being able just to maintain that. It's not really additional new revenue, but it's just avoiding that loss of revenue.
Okay. And so, as the chief was saying, we are an elderly community, and I would hate that we would have to wait for an ambulance to come from our neighboring cities to help a resident when we have all the facilities here. So I will hope that, we can put that in place, because, even gunshot wounds patients, I mean, they can't wait to a half an hour, maybe for an ambulance to show up. We need to be there on the spot. So yeah, I would be more than inclined to do whatever we have to do so we can keep that service. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
You're welcome.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilwoman Wiley?
Yes. Are all of the firefighters classified as medics? Or is there just a certain amount?
Chief Hubbard?
Yes, sir. Right now, we have 21 firefighters in the department. Of the 21, only 7 are medics.
Okay.
And that is because when they hire in as EMTs, and then they go to school to become a medic. Once they get that certification, then they leave. That's where the problem's at.
Okay, are we footing the bill for this schooling?
They pay for their own schooling. We just provide them the time off.
So also, Councilwoman Watley, I mean, I think you raised an important point, and that's something that we're certainly taking a look at, because there are costs that the city incurs while we don't pay for their schooling. There are times where they do get paid time off, correct, Chief?
We have to fill their vacancy with overtime.
Yeah.
So if they go to school on a day they're on duty, we have to fill that spot with an overtime person.
And then also there's certain, onboarding costs, for lack of a better term, like we have to buy certain gear and equipment and the like for them that can't always be paid passed along. If somebody leaves, it's not like a computer where you can pass it to the next person. So we are incurring a lot of costs with this turnover. And so not only will, taking this step help us stop the turnover, but there's going to be some things that we want to do to, in addition to increasing pay, to try and make sure people are a little bit more obligated or committed to the city for a minimum amount of time. And if they leave, then the city's in a position to recover some of the costs that we incur up front.
Well, that's sort of my point, because is there any way to, because you're investing in them, to require a certain time limit for them? I mean, if they plan on leaving anyway, is there something within the contract or something where you can say, if we provide this, then you are with the city of Inkster for 1.5 years or 2 years or whatever? No?
Yeah, we've discussed that very point. And as you may be aware of, where we have an expired contract with the firefighters. So these are some of the things that we're certainly we have discussed with them. The leadership understands, and it's in their best interest too. They don't like the turnover, so I think we're on the same page with the administration and the firefighter union. So we expect that we'll be able to get something like that in place. We've had previous discussions with the city attorney about that, and that's again one of the things specifically that we're going to look to implement through this process.
And when they come in as EMTs, but they take their test or whatever to become medic, at the time they become a medic, is there a pay scale that it's raised because they have this additional knowledge?
Go ahead, Chief.
No, you go ahead. Well, for example, a EMT firefighter makes, I think, $14 an hour, somewhere in that area. And a medic makes about $15.75, I think, per hour. But when you go to other departments, they're making $20, $21 an hour. So that's why we lose them. It's just, it's basic mathematics, really.
We're understanding the principle of, loss and stuff like that. What I'm trying to get at is how much money would we have to come up with? How many firefighters will have this distinction that you would need to fund?
Well, currently, the previous contract essentially has required any firefighter within a certain time to get their medic license. So, outside, I think it's, what is it, Chief, 18 months?
Yes.
So anyone that has seniority beyond 18 months under the current contract, and we expect that to continue, has been required to have their medic license. And I think outside of a few, longer tenured people, everyone is supposed to have it once they reach that 18-month seniority point.
A question.
So we want everyone. We want everyone to have it.
Question.
Go ahead.
Just want a clarification. Okay, you said these medics make less money than a regular firefighter?
No. It was the opposite. I think in response to Councilwoman Watley's question, once someone gets their medic license, I believe, Chief, I think they become eligible for certain premiums and certain bonuses that raises their pay.
Yes.
So it is, from the firefighter standpoint, having that medic license does raise your pay. It's just you being a medic, what you're going to be paid in Inkster is not as much as you're going to be paid in some neighboring communities, and it's created a situation where people can see a pretty significant jump once they get that medic license. They may be here for 12 months, a year, 2 years. They have that medic license, and now they're being recruited elsewhere. Because the increase that they get when they become a medic here is not as much of an increase as they are going to get potentially in a neighboring community.
What's the hourly rate for a medic for the for the general public.
What did you say, Mr. Mayor?
In the city of Inkster, hourly rate for the medics.
Medics start at step 3, which is
per hour.
Hang on one second. I'll get that for you just a second.
And in comparison to our neighboring communities. All right, so we just wanted to bring the presentation before you, of course, and bring all the information before you, but we're going to put this on for action for next council meeting so we can formulate all the numbers so you guys can have a packet before you, the information. So we just wanted to really, get ahead of this. We've been going again back and forth with the union, and it's negotiating time. So we just wanted to make sure that we brought this before you. So we will be coming back again at our next meeting with requests for the 150,000 that we're looking at right now, and just have some hard line numbers for you with all the questions that you asked. Go ahead, Councilman Shaw.
I mean, it's really a no-brainer. I think we all probably would agree that this LS, system is for our community.
You can always call for action and put it on the agenda.
Well, Mr. Chair, is like I talked about this, in the summertime when we talked about public safety, having, one public safety officer, and also putting this onto the ballot for the people to decide. Now we bringing this before council, and we're showing, what's going on and why we need these type of dollars. I mean, if we actually read the monthly reports, you can see how devastating some of these things that the police department and the fire department go through. So, I mean, I know it's an unpopular thing, but we got to really have some serious conversations about taking this to the people. I mean, hey, I'm a taxpayer myself, and I would not mind supporting my police and my fire department.
I totally agree, and that is one of the other ways that we're looking at being able to fund this long term. So we just wanted to make sure that we brought the language, and how it should be presented, and then the actual timing of it as it relates to a public safety millage for the community to vote on. Also, too, Chief Hubbard, talk about the grant that we're looking at right now, too.
You talking about the retention grant?
Correct.
Yeah. FEMA announced that they were going to put out a grant that would be 100% funded by FEMA with no cost sharing part to the city. And we were going to apply for that to try to retain our 5 firefighters that were budgeted to be eliminated out of our department. But the grant has not come out yet. They have not put it out to be written. So as soon as that comes out, then I intend to do that if it comes out.
Yeah, we got on pretty good authority that it is coming out, so we're just gonna get prepared for that. But I'm in total agreement with Councilman Shaw. So, we could, it's totally up to this body to make a motion to move forward with this. It's up to you. We can put it on the agenda for an action item tonight, or we can come back for next meeting.
Okay, what are we moving forward with, Mr. Mayor?
Darren, explain it.
So I think it would be 2 things. One, it's just, and I mean, one is kind of just automatic, no-brainer type of thing. But we need to accept the $236,000 from the CARES Act through that the money that was received for the public safety payroll reimbursement, and more importantly, we would allocate $150,000 towards the fire department. We could move it into the salaries general ledger account. So, it could be a formal amendment. But in answering your question, the intent or purpose would be to essentially amend the budget to put an additional $150,000 into the fire department.
And this is, again, $236,000 that we didn't account for in the general budget for this year.
That is currently not in the budget. We would need to, obviously at some point add that revenue that we've already booked that, the money's has hit the account. So we do just need to, from a technical standpoint, just add that money into the budget. That does require council action, but more importantly, we want to go ahead and allocate some of that funding towards the fire department.
Are we in position to make a motion?
One question before we do, Councilman Williams. On the FEMA grant, can you explain that again to me? Because it's supposed to it's supposed to be 100% FEMA, and what is that supposed to cover again?
That grant is intended to help with retention in fire departments, because typically what happens is once you get a grant, the grants that we're currently under, they have a matching portion, a cost sharing part that the cities have to pay. And it puts a strain on city budgets. This grant is supposed to be 100% funded, and it's intended to retain the firefighters who are already on a grant in your department so that they can have 2 or 3 more years in your department covered by the federal government. That's what it's intended to do.
Okay, so when we laid off the firefighters, were those in that group, or it was some?
They would be in that group. That's who the group is. That's what it's for. It's for anybody who is on a grant currently and in jeopardy of losing their job. Once the grant expires, this grant will pick up and take them further down the road.
Okay, so as of right now, we have not laid off any of the firefighters that are under that grant?
Currently, no, we have not laid anybody off. No, we can't, because the grant requires you to keep your staffing levels at a certain number. As long as that grant is in effect, you can't lay anybody off.
Okay, that was a question asked, I think, during the budget time. There was a question asked in regards to laying off firefighters. And the ones that would have gotten laid off would have been the ones who have gotten the grant. And so no one came back. So actually we sent the budget to the state with those firefighters being laid off, and they're still not. So how is that going to affect our budget?
So, and I mean, you're precisely correct. We those reductions have not been fully implemented. In order for us, and what we had discussed during budget time, we would have to request a waiver of the grant. To date, we haven't done that. There have been some kind of indirect implementation of the savings because of the turnover. So, during the time, Chief, I don't think we've been, when we're three months in, I don't think we've been fully staffed you can speak to the levels of vacancies that have occurred over the last 3 months, but we haven't had, we haven't been fully staffed. So there have been some by way of vacancies. And I think the thought would be that we could achieve those reductions via vacancy. But when the ALS BLS issue came up, and there was a question of what would be the impact of fully implementing that budget, and then we had the alternative that came up with the money from the CARES Act, and so we started looking at that as a operational and a better alternative from an operation standpoint, and ultimately a better operation from a financial standpoint. So if we go the route of this $150,000, we would be working with the union to find that balance of reductions and increase in pay, so that we could get to a level that is in line with the budget. It allows us to protect the revenues, and I think most importantly, allows us to maintain the ALS services.
Okay, so our fiscal budget, wait 1 second, I just have one more question. Our fiscal budget, fiscal year started in July, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so why does it take us a couple of months to find out that the firefighters was never laid off? I think Councilwoman Watley had spoke on that before, transparency. I think that's something that we should have known before today. I didn't know anything about this, but I think the council should be known when things are, if we pass the budget, if the budget was passed with certain things in it, and if it's not in it, we shouldn't have known before now. That's all I have to say.
So I'm still asking the question. Okay, are you asking the council to approve the go out for the grant? What are you asking?
Again, I'm asking, we can bring this back in writing. I just heard from the council that it was like a no-brainer to do it. But again, this was, to preempt you of what's going on. So then we can bring it back before council in writing and you can make the request is made properly.
Yeah, but I need a clarification.
Right now, you guys are saying it's a no-brainer.
To add to the budget, recast the budget for $150,000. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, and to Councilman Williams' request, I do have a resolution I can get over to the clerk, Mayor, that essentially pulls in that $236,000 in revenue and adds $150,000 in expenses for the fire department. So if council's ready to act, we can get that resolution to the clerk and she can provide them. But I mean, it's pretty straightforward what we're talking about. And obviously we'd be working through the details with the union in terms of how we would be deploying that $150,000 and providing that information to council.
So are we have to wait on the resolution, or can we make a motion?
You can make a motion right now. It's a no-brainer to me.
I so move.
I second.
Mr. Carrington, I kind of jotted something down that I can't read for the motion.
Okay.
And you just tell me if this is, what it is. The motion is to accept $236,000 from the CARES Act money into the FY 2021 budget and to allocate $150,000 towards the fire department.
Right.
Yeah, and I would just say to the fire department for salaries and wages.
Okay, for salaries.
Because generally we like to approve a general ledger account. So it'd be salary and wages, and I'll give you the general ledger accounts for that.
Okay.
It's been properly moved and supported. Any discussion?
Question.
Yeah.
Question, Councilman Shaw.
Yes, with the remainder of that balance of that 236,000, we're going to move that 50,000 over to the police department, right?
That is correct. That's our desire, sir.
Okay, that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Councilman Chisholm.
Just for clarity, we're voting not voting on this now under presentation and not under new business.
Right.
Okay.
A motion can be made anytime during the meeting.
Anytime.
Exactly. All right. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Shaw,
Yes.
Councilmember Washington,
Yes.
Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
Councilmember Watley,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
Yes.
and Councilmember Shaw. I'm sorry, Councilmember Chisholm, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Mayor, we have 6 yeas.
All right, motion carries. All right, moving right along. The next presentation is you guys asked at the last meeting as it relates to the emergency shelter and the organization that had proposed this to us. We do have a couple of representatives on the line tonight. If you could have Steve, you can give them what they need to do in order to chime in.
Yep. Those persons, if you can, please press *6 if you dialed in, or raise your hand if you called in per video or joined us, I guess you could say, by way of video for the emergency shelter presentation. And that's from Wayne County, right?
It's actually Wayne County and Al Bogdan and Ty Hinton.
Okay. You know,
Give room to pause. You
I
said
heard you
what?
say, I heard you say something about Mr. Hinton.
Ty Hinton?
Okay, I had saw that name earlier, so I'm looking for it. I see it right here.
Okay. All right. You got Pastor Miles there and Ty Hinton. Ty, he's on mute, Steve.
Should be going.
Okay,
All right, go ahead. How you doing today, Mr. Hinton?
doing fine. Thank you.
Good. All right, give us a little bit of background. Getting off into the...
Okay, Pastor Miles wants to go first.
All right, go ahead, Pastor Miles.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I am just thrilled tonight to introduce a project that has kind of been laid in my lap through our wonderful county exec, Warren Evans, to build a 24 and possible 30 unit a family center in the name of Naomi James. Naomi James is and was one of Inkster jewels, I would call her. That is actually my wife, a mother that passed some years ago. And so we're doing this in honor of her legacy. And so the Wayne County has passed this through their commission to build this particular facility. If we go with 24 units, it will actually be at a cost of around $6 million. If we go with the 30 unit, it would be 7.5. So I thank you for your time to just introduce something that will be really revolutionary to our county. And I'm so excited that it can be in the beautiful city of Inkster. We have done like projects in E-Course. We are the largest landowner in E-Course. Through our 8-block development, we built a senior housing complex, a veterans facility, luxury apartment, 15 condominiums, and we're doing a strip mall right now. And we also have a social service that we partner with the state of Michigan and also with Teen Wellness. And so besides just the Naomi James Family Center, there will be a social service component that will be a part of this facility. Ty, you can take over from there.
Okay. Just a few details. We don't have a final site plan nor elevations. We're in the preliminary stages of seeing what we can put on the land. We are looking to purchase from the city of Inkster up to 5 acres. We are at this particular point negotiating the purchase agreement that I think the city council and the mayor is going to like. I'm just going to be open for questions if you have any other details you want to get into.
All right, questions from the council.
Yes, Mayor.
Go ahead, Councilwoman Wiley. Councilwoman Wiley.
Okay, number one, how many cities or communities have they presented this idea to before bringing it to us? Have they done it to, presented this to any other city?
I can answer that. I met with Khalil Reha, and this is the only city that they brought this to. They brought it to me, and in honor of my mother-in-law, I wanted it to be in Inkster.
Okay, the property that you're referring to buying, well, before that, this is going to be a non-profit, correct? So there won't be any taxes, but there will
Yes,
be
ma'am.
private, correct?
Yes.
Okay. The property that you're buying there at Carlisle, we would need at least 3 times what it's worth for it to benefit the city of Inkster. So I
Yeah,
guess
we already proposed that, Councilwoman. I think when we sent the assessment back, it was 17,000. We're up to about 100,000 as we're negotiating on what we're trying to do.
okay, well, we're finding out. We're in our find out stage. So
That's
good.
correct.
That was one of my questions.
Yes,
All right.
ma'am.
So
And we're looking at a payment in lieu of taxes for the property as well.
right, the pilot.
Mhm.
So what how does this benefit the city of Inkster other than through the sale of land and the because once again this is a situation where resources will be allocated to it from already existing strained sources. So how is this supposed to benefit the city of Inkster?
Well, I can answer that also. Besides the purchase of the land, we are proposing to do a park and adjacent to this, along with doing some economic development around this particular property also. We're not novice in what we do. We own a continuous 8 blocks in the city of Ecorse, again, and we're looking to do the same with this property that will spur development around it. But we're looking to do some economic development around this particular piece of property, and also looking into housing. We are heavily involved in housing also.
So
That will be taxable.
and it will increase the property values of everything in that area. You're talking about a $6 million to $7.5 million project, correct?
Yes, sir.
Well, I am concerned, of course, because we seem to be attracting more social endeavors than we are of actual financially viable endeavors. So I would like the council to pay close attention and see if this is something that we want to, is this an area we want to continue on? Is this a path we want to continue on? Thank you.
Question. Go
Yeah,
ahead,
may
Mr. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah. I just want to point out that part of what we're negotiating, as you know, is a payment for the land that is going to be above the value, and also putting money into the park. So it's a package deal for us to help you develop your park, maybe play equipment, who knows, as well as doing something in the area around the site that will attract other investment. Right now, especially the area going toward Michigan, there are a lot of housing development opportunities. And I know, Mayor, that you have some things in mind as well. A brand new building on that corner would accentuate the possibilities of more investment, especially in new construction coming into the city. What we're going to build will be a very attractive building. It will, you won't really even know it's a shelter unless you were told. It's going to be that kind of a facility. I just wanted to make that known.
Good point.
And I just like to make one statement, since Ms. Watley indicated about tax dollars. This area where they're talking about that, we never got a tax dollar out of it, period. Okay. One, the park was there and the school was there. Okay. We never got any tax dollars. Okay. And so if we can generate monies in that area there and try to improve, District 1 is an area that it needs that facelift. Okay, and then we're talking about putting back over on the other side where you're looking at on Beach Street down that way where we got nothing but empty houses. We was talking about building houses down that way. I think this would bring a better impact into the district as the councilman in that district. And I think it'll be really an uplift for District 1.
All right. Any other questions or comments?
Yes.
Yes.
Councilman Chisholm.
Mine was cutting out a little bit, so I didn't quite hear if they had said it was one located in another city that they did work on already.
Yes, sir. We have an 8-block development, Councilman. We have a 37-unit senior housing complex in honor of my father, Charles O'Miles. We have a social service facility, and we partner with the state of Michigan along with Teen Wellness to deal with all social needs as it relates to families. We have partnerships with Wayne County court system. We are completing a strip mall right now that's going to have an international grocery store and cafe. We have a mentoring center for our youth. We built 15 luxury condominiums. Also, we built a apartment building. Also, we have the Gary L. Miles Veteran Facility to take care of our vets. So part of our mission, part of our theme, part of what we do is coming up with solutions to people's everyday problems. So this is not going to be for individuals, it's going to be for families. And we'll have the social wherewithal to take care of their particular needs while we can enhance everything around this particular area. And we are committed to do that.
My apologies. I meant as far as like the Inkster site, something I guess you could say similar that you did, and what communities would that be located? I just wanted to look it up, that's all.
Oh, okay, yeah. In e-course, and I would be happy to entertain a site visit for everyone to see what we've done in e-course on Saliette.
E-course on Saliette. I'm gonna look it up because I know everybody is it's the midst of the pandemic, where you got all this social distancing stuff and being safe. So can you provide me with the address?
Absolutely. I'm gonna forward all of that information to you if you'd be so kind.
Oh, that's great.
The different and brochures that will accompany that information for everybody. So I'll make sure everyone receives that information.
That's fine with me. Thank you. I have no further questions.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Councilman Shaw.
I didn't know if anybody else had some questions.
No, go ahead, sir. It's on you.
Okay. I just wanted to commend you, Pastor Miles, for the commitment of building a $5 million facility here in the city of Inkster. My question would be from a operation standpoint. You may mention that these are for families. This is not a permanent residence, right?
No, sir. 3 months, and we will locate them to permanent housing. That's what we do through our social services on a daily basis.
Okay, so you're saying 3 months for a family, and is there a time frame for individuals, or this is not a facility for individuals?
No. We're very careful. This facility is for families, entire families only.
Okay, so there's going to be a monitoring system in place, or as one of my colleagues would say, a mechanism in place to make sure that the 3-month period is 3 months, or is it going to be some way they're going to extend the 3 months?
We have a partnership with Samaritas, and in some rare cases, they have expressed to us that there could be an extension for a couple of weeks, but that's on a rare cases basis.
Okay, because I know, I think I saw in the last time that we had the write-up, they were talking about a 24-hour stay. I don't know if that's for certain, but I thought I saw.
No, not here, Brush Shaw. But this will be for 3 months. And again, rare occasions it might be extended, but again, we have the wherewithal. You know, our partnership is with Wayne County, of course. And so we have strict guidelines that we have to follow as it relates to this particular project.
Okay. Just one more question, Reverend Williams. Pastor Miles, with that being said, are we going to kind of gear them or steer them towards having a foundation in the city of Inkster as far as getting housing after those 3 months?
That's what we have expressed to the mayor. And so the council hearing this for the first time. I have scouted that particular area, not just the land, that particular area. I have talked to neighbors personally, because we're looking to your question, yes, we're looking to keep families there, but we also have a job placement program that we have also through Michigan Works. And so we bring all of these components to bear. We also, as I stated before, we work with 36th District Court. I just met with Kim Worthy not more than 2 weeks ago. Frank Murphy Hall of Justice. Part of what we do is work with judges to keep some of our folk out of prison. And we do that on a regular basis. We work with probation officers. And so I think we got a pretty good track record of just helping people where they are to get them where they need to be.
I mean, it's very good, Pastor Miles. You know, and if we can really get them, I mean, and the idea, I understand the idea. If we can get them steered towards home ownership in the city of Inkster, this can also be a benefit when we're talking about this shelter, emergency shelter, because we're getting families in the city of Inkster in homes, becoming viable taxpayers in the city of Inkster, and, you know, getting them to, like you said, where they need to be.
Well, Brother Shaw, let me make a commitment to everyone under the sound of my voice. We are one of a rare group that have a partnership, not just with Wayne County through a CHOTO, but we're also a partner with the Detroit Land Bank. We have rehabbed approximately 6 houses. We're finishing up 2 as we speak this week. And if Inkster makes the same commitment, just make us a partner, I will give you my word. We will rehab properties and we will place people in those properties for home ownership. We're doing that right now as we speak.
Right.
In Detroit, any course.
You got a statement.
And we would love to do it in the city of Inkster.
I got a statement.
Councilman Williams?
Yeah, so Shaw will understand if he want to get an idea on, if the council want to get an idea of what they're talking about bringing here, there's an upgraded program of what they already have over in the Eloise building. They have the battery and the family center there. As you know, they finna tear that down. All that's being tore down, and the people have to have somewhere to go. And if you go over there, and what makes me so excited, I know a lot of times we talk about tax dollars, okay, but you know, I prefer to at this particular point with some land that's never been really taxed, and use it for and use it to continue to help our children and our people. If you ever know something, my organization, I got a list that Mr. Shaw, you can stop by and see many people that we have took to that family veteran center over in Wayne County. Okay, and another good idea, and so I know for a fact how vulnerable it is that's going to be in the city of Inkster in that land. right now, that whole land that he's talking about, if you go there and take the survey and what he got, my God, we don't get a dime. We haven't got a dime from that property in almost what old as I am. So I'm and then with the extra packages that's coming in, okay, we're gonna have to try to make some moves where we have it. And our people need help. Main thing right now, do you know how many women with children that are homeless at this point? So we got to have somewhere for them to go. Right now, as a pastor and running a group at National Christian Action, you know that I have to take battered women and women now all the way down to the city of Detroit because they don't have room for them where they're at now. And I was excited. And just one clarification, Pastor, them 30 that you're talking about, that's 30 families, am I correct?
30 families.
Okay, see, and
30 families.
That's exactly what we're gonna need. You know, and I'm excited about it. You know, I just think, you know, then once we start getting places so we can protect our people, and then we start building. Because see, what I'm looking for, I'm not looking for no giants to come nowhere and build Inkster. I'm looking for Steve Chisholm and Shaw and the mayor and Sandra Watley and all of. We can build this city. We got people right here in the city of Inkster that can build this city. We just got to come together, you know, and build what we want to build. Where there's unity, there's strength. So I'm excited about it, and you know, and I know we haven't got a tax dollar over there since the time that I was born. I'm almost hitting 70. So, you know, and I'm excited about it. And then he promised me, right, Pastor Miles?
Yes, sir.
That we're gonna do a little renovation on that park, right?
Listen here, bro, Williams. Now, you know, you go way back with Naomi.
That's
I know
right.
that. Mayor, if you be so kind, whoever's in charge, get me the list of vacant homes right now. And I'll put my money where my mouth is.
Already know, Pastor Miles. That's why I got you on the call.
We already know what you could do.
I mean, you got the great Ty Hinton with you, so people don't know you look his name up.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Mayor.
Well, I'm just telling you that this is going to open up several doors because we're not just talking about this. We already located some other areas. Ty, go ahead because they need to hear what we're talking about.
Okay. This is all about building communities. I'm the former housing director for Wayne County. And so is our other partner, Al Bogdan. We have done many projects for people who are on the ground. We see an opportunity around this facility to really build some housing and rehab housing and develop a whole community. I've been looking at this particular site when it was an elementary school. I've been looking at the site that the Veterans Facility was built on for the last, would you believe, 25 years. And it's about time we did something that will attract development. And this is where we are. My specialty is in community development and economic development. Currently the economic development director for the city of Harper Woods. Al has a reputation that goes way back to Bill Milliken. So you have a team that's going to take a team approach and get the resources that we need. Now, Detroit just got a windfall. We're going to find some money from some place along with the private investment that Pastor is willing to do to bring that whole area back. It's about time it happened.
Yeah, we got some exciting stuff going on over there. So I'm really excited about the project as well. So, all right, guys, let's move right along. Thank you so much, Pastor Miles. Thank you so much, Ty.
All right.
Thank
Thank you for all your time. God bless you all.
God bless you too. All right, consent agenda.
So move.
Or
Is it?
moved and properly supported. Roll call, please.
Before we do a roll call, Mayor, with the consent agenda, that's from the last one. Never mind, go ahead. Because I wanted to know, do we add the stipulations under new business that we want before we approve agenda?
We already approved the agenda already. Those
Okay.
other items just came along. We approved that item. It's part of that item C.
It's fine. I'm talking about with B.
Yep, we already split that into item C already. It's already been done. We did that. With the approval of the agenda, we already did that already. The consent agenda, we shouldn't even really be having discussion during this time. It's the consent, it's just the consent agenda for last.
Okay.
Yep, for the meeting, the minutes and that.
Okay, so move.
So it's been properly moved and supported. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
Yes.
Councilmember Washington,
Yes.
Councilmember Shaw,
Yes.
Councilmember Chisholm,
Yes.
and Councilmember Wiley.
Yes.
We have 6 yeas, Mayor.
All right, motion carries. Any boards and commissions going around the table? Any appointments for boards and commissions?
Mr. Mayor, have you filled the spot for planning?
Not as of yet, but I am in talks with you. You mentioned Rebecca Daniels. Did you want to?
Yes.
All right, I'll make a motion for Rebecca tonight, then. Let's do that. We'll move it forward. Well,
I'll move.
so it sounds like Kim would actually have to make
You made the recommendation, I move.
recommendation. So Kim made the motion, you moved it. Any discussion on that? All right, roll call, please. Rebecca
Councilmember
Daniels, the Planning Commission.
Councilmember Wiley,
No.
Councilmember Washington,
Yes.
Councilmember Chisholm,
Yes.
Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
Yes.
and Councilmember Shaw.
Yes.
We have 5 yeas and 1 nay, Mayor.
All right, motion carries. Moving right along. Any others? All right, hearing none. Let's get off into it. Previous business, second reading.
Council to offer a second reading and approval of text amendments TA 20-10 to the city's zoning ordinance pertaining to provisions for emergency shelters per the recommendations of the Planning Commission. For a list of affected ordinance sections, please see the background information.
What's your pleasure, Council?
So move, Mr. Chair.
Your support?
Support.
Discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Looking at the map for the RM1, when I looked up the map, it's a lot of RM1s and RNs, RM within our district. So how many, if we approve this tonight, adding to this zoning, so that means someone with a smaller amount of people in the shelter, they can build on any one of these other lands that are zoned for that?
Is Ms. Hines on the line, Stephen?
I'm looking.
Caitlin?
Yes, she is.
Good. Caitlin, can you respond to that, please?
Right. So we do currently have the 1,000-foot buffer in there, but if you would like to add a condition to increase the buffer, that's possible. Yes, anybody could put potentially a development or do another shelter, but remember that we are making this a special land use, so it would go before you no matter what.
Does that answer your question, Council, Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
All right. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
Yes.
Councilmember Washington,
Yes.
Councilmember Chisholm,
Yes.
Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
Councilmember Shaw,
Yes.
and Councilmember Wiley.
No.
We have 5 yeas, Mayor, and 1 nay.
Motion carries. New business.
Item A under new business is consideration and approval to adopt on behalf of the City of Inkster from Great Lakes Water Authority to concur in the rules and regulations of industrial pretreatment program as adopted by the Great Lakes Water Authority.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Support.
All right, is Mr. Bivens on the line? Councilman Chisholm?
Yep, he is.
Jerome, if you can just give us a brief explanation to this.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
So this resolution that I have before you today comes through the Great Lake Water Authority, which provides water to 43 communities throughout the state of Michigan. And basically what it is an operation and management resolution that we agree with their practice of Safe Water Act. We agree with their pollution control methods, and we agree with their overall running of their water system. And we are just in support as the other 43 communities and supporting them as the state has requested that they get a resolution from each community that they provide service to. That's the basic nutshell of all these pages of all these legal documents you got before you.
What happened if we don't agree with that? I mean, how do you is it some type of mechanism that you use to gauge that and your expertise to say that we agree with everything that they're doing?
Yeah, because I am a member. I represent the city of Inkster as a water purchaser from GLEWA, and I testimony to like they provide a service to us where they come out and test 30 of our locations a month for bacteria, and we've given them the locations where they test. They do that, and then I'm on several committees with GLEWA as far as Clean Water Act. I'm on the Atlantic Copper Board, and I can attest to the practices and implementation of programs that they have done in the past and are doing, and I can vouch for them.
Does that answer your question, Mayor? That's not what you asked.
No.
What happened to we don't?
I don't want what more. These are their rules and regulations that they have to govern themselves by with Eagle. So all they're asking us to do is support them on this. They're governed by the state of Michigan and the EPA. So the same way we're governed by the state of Michigan and the EPA. So
and I repeat, what happens if we don't?
Well, you just maybe you get on the fence.
I can't answer that question.
Penalties for us not doing this?
No, I can't answer that question because I guess I wouldn't entertain thought of us not adopting this resolution. So I don't know the answer to that question. I'll have to find that out from GLEWA.
Who else you gonna get water from?
Yeah.
Oh, it was just a question, you know. Yeah, just a question. All right, any other discussion or comments, questions?
Yeah.
Councilwoman Wiley, did you have something else?
No, I was just saying this.
And Mr. Mayor, before they vote, let me say this too. This is a no.
Hold on, Mr. Bivens. You were out of order, sir. I don't know if you heard the councilwoman speaking or not.
I didn't hear.
Councilwoman Wiley? Councilwoman Wiley, were you finished?
Yeah, all I said in addition was it was a valid question and it was one that needed an answer. Nothing, or they'll take your firstborn. I don't care. I just wanted an answer, and he doesn't have an answer.
Mr. Bivens still follow up with an answer. No. I will, but I'm going to say this is like a no harmless resolution. I mean, there's no cash value or benefit to us one way or the other. Just to say we support their operation. That's basically what it comes down to. But I will ask that question for you and get back to this body. But it's really a no harmless resolution.
Okay, and just one other thing. Is there a benefit to us approving this? I mean, are they going to take $1 off here or there?
No, ma'am, like I just stated, it's a no harmless resolution. It's just in support of their operation and the way they manage the water facilities that they run and provide water to all 43 communities. That's the basic nutshell of the whole resolution.
Okay,
All through, Mayor. Thank you.
thank you.
Mr.
Any other questions, comments?
Yes, I have a question, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, Mayor.
I read half of this. I didn't read it all. It's going to be another to read it. It was a lot. But they're giving you the guidelines in which their test water. In this packet that was given to us, some of the things that I read is like it's a violation if you put contaminated anything into our drainage system, grease. So it's very, very interesting to see how they go about trying to keep our water clean. So this is what the rules that they have in here that I read some of them. So hopefully, I'm not sure, Jerome, if this is on the website so our residents can see this.
No, it's not, Mayor Pro Tem, but
Okay, yeah.
I can, once you guys, vote tonight, I can have Senator Troy have it put on the website.
Right, and it also gives language in here that they use and definitions that they use. So if any of these any of this language come up, we know what they're talking about, or just refer back to the package that was given to us. I did not know that they test probably businesses like Kentucky Fried Chicken or whatever, and they come out and test to see, if they're not throwing grease down their drain, and they monitor the pH levels. So I think this is very knowledgeable, and I think we all should take a heed to this and just go. We want clean water. That's the ultimate goal, is to have our water as clean as possible. All right, Mayor, I'm done.
Mr.
Right,
Chair.
Yeah, go ahead. Please.
Call for the question.
Yes, sir. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Washington,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
Yes.
Councilmember Chisholm,
Yes.
Councilmember Wiley,
Yes.
Councilmember Shaw,
Yes.
and Councilmember Williams.
Yeah.
We have 6 yeas, Mayor.
All right, motion carries.
Item B under new business, and if Mr. Carrington is listening, hopefully he can kind of help me through this one, is consideration and approval of $100,000 to be added to the FY21 budget that was
I'm sorry,
awarded.
Madam Clerk, did you get my email?
I didn't. I only got one
Okay.
part of the email, and that was the firefighter part. I've been looking for it.
Okay, I did send it to you with both those resolutions.
Okay, it just popped up, Mr. Carrington. Thank you. Okay, so item B is going to be authorization is hereby given for the administration for the purpose of purchasing 3 new Ford Intercepts to amend the budget as follows: to add $100,000 in revenue for the FDCVT grant from the last fiscal year, and to add $101,520 in expense to the police department budget for the purchase of new vehicles. And that is the resolution number 1, item B.
So move.
Support.
Moved and properly supported. Discussion?
Yes, question, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Denard. I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Mayor Pro Tem.
No. Go ahead.
Now, the question that I have is, I heard the chief may mention that it's a possibility that we can, if necessary, outfit these patrol cars. Excuse me. Is there a way that we can outfit these?
Chief Riley? Let him off of mute, please.
Sir, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you now.
Okay. The cost that we have we were able to finance the equipment and the vehicles together.
So can
But
we?
just for point of clarity, that's not for the resolution number 1 that the clerk
Right.
just. That's for the second resolution.
That's what, yes, yes, sir. That's for the second resolution. We were able to finance all that in one in the second resolution.
Chief, we're asking about the first resolution, which was the 3 cars that you have for admin.
Yes.
Councilman Shaw asked if these particular vehicles could be possibly outfitted for patrol.
Well, we wrote the grant and we received the grant from the state based on asking it for admin, which encompass investigations, community policing, and staff. We didn't write it for patrol. See, we did not write it for patrol.
You would violate the grant if you took the 3 cars and equipped them for patrol.
Right, because it was, because it was a specific grant. You could ask for patrol and ask for investigation. Admin, and which we did. We asked for admin, and with that, there came a certain way with the engine not as big and robust, and the way it was. I mean, when you look at these cars and we go after these particular cars, that's why they ask you, what do you plan on using them for? Because some of them will come with a different size engine, a much more hardy engine because it's going to be on patrol. So, and we wrote it specifically for admin.
Okay.
And we're not trying to run into any problem. We're not trying to run into problem with the state.
Yes, sir. I got you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem, you had a question, comment?
Yeah, so this resolution that was just read to us, that's just for the purchase of number 1, right?
Correct.
Correct. Okay. So the other one is we tabling that, right? We just tabling until we get what we asked for.
We haven't even got to that item yet.
Okay.
That's item C, and then you can make a motion however you feel. If you get support, we go from there.
Okay.
Item B right now is, do we have any more discussion on that? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Watley.
Yes.
Councilmember Washington.
Yes.
Councilmember Chisholm.
Yes.
Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard.
Yes.
And Councilmember Shaw.
Yes.
Mayor, we have 6 yeas.
All right, motion carries. Item C.
Item C is a resolution to authorize for administration for the purpose of purchasing 4 Dodge Durangos, 1 Ford Intercept, and 1 Ford F-150, and to amend the budget as follows: to add $98,350 in expenses for the police department for the purchase of new vehicles, reduce by $15,000 the police department budget for vehicle maintenance and repair, and reduce by $16,000 the police department budget for prisoner maintenance.
What's your pleasure?
I so move.
Is there support?
I support for discussion.
All right, discussion on the item.
I thought we were tabling this.
But no, again, I said, what's your pleasure? So if somebody wanted to table it, they should have said then to table. Reverend Williams made the motion to support the resolution is read. So now we have support, now discussion. If you guys want to table it through this, then you go from there.
I got something I want to say.
You say you want something you have to say?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Yes, sir.
And I'll get back with you, Councilman Chisholm. I saw you here.
Treasurer broke down how we can go ahead on with this. And I'll say this. I think if we go back and do our homework, we'll find out that we spent $115,000 real easy on maintenance and repairs. Okay? And the way he says it, where Darren has indicated how he's going to pay for them and what we're trying to do, and we don't know what's going to come at that point. But I'm gonna tell you, I know we all out here in this city, and I know you got to see our police officers riding up and down the street in either raggedy, Well, I mean, what year that them black cars you got? Can you talk, Chief? Somebody hit the chief.
Unmute. There you go.
So we have some vehicles that are 05s. We have some 10s. We have some. The biggest problem though is it's so many of them got over 100,000 miles on them. That's the biggest cause, and we work. And of course, you know, we don't want to have an accident or, God forbid, to put us in any more situations. But you know, the Chargers, we got a 2009 and whatnot. It's just that we're in a bad situation. Just that we're in a bad situation.
I feel that, you know, the way that Darren, how close do you feel that what you have recommended that we would do that we can reach that goal? Because I know you're going to save a lot of money on that $115,000 on maintenance. I know you're going to save a lot of that.
Yeah, well, you know, it's really hard for me to project that. I don't know a lot of the details in terms of the you know, cost of repairs. That's one of the reasons why, you know, we do expect that there will be some savings. We try to be pretty realistic, and you know, I think $15,000 is a pretty realistic number. You know, we still have 9 months left in the fiscal year, so to try and get the fleet updated and get those savings. But you know, beyond that, I'm not in a position to really speak in detail.
Okay. Any other comments, questions? Go ahead, Councilman Chisholm. I'm sorry, Steve.
Oh, no problem. You're all right. Yeah, two things. I thought the reason we were splitting it so we could vote separately in the event that we did table this particular item. And then also I thought we were just kind of waiting on a little bit more information so we could potentially vote on it maybe next week. And that way, if we had any further questions to talk to Chief Riley about, or anybody in administration, we could get that clarification. Because I know the motion's been called, or call for the question is on the floor and everything like that. So that was just my take on it to my colleagues. So, you know, I know it's already, we are where we are, but I thought we were waiting on a little bit more information. That's all.
And Mr. Chair.
Please go ahead, Councilwoman.
Yes, I mean, I don't understand. I'm not sure if my colleagues are not listening to what I'm saying, but when we have a budget amendment, the funds have already been spent. Okay, and I wanted, before all of this has happened, I wanted the purchase agreement, because I believe these cars have already been ordered. I can be wrong, but being on council for this is my third term, we've never had a budget amendment unless the funds were already gone.
Funds are not gone. We haven't purchased.
Just like we just did with the fire department. You know, they brought us a presentation. We voted. We didn't do anything like this. This was already presented to us. So the council can do what they want to do, but I believe there's some shady stuff going on. I feel it. And I know the police department needs some cars. That's not what I'm saying. But the way y'all went through this is not right. Now you all go back and look at all your council requests and all your budget amendments. These cars have been ordered. So that's why I am asking that we see the purchase orders for these vehicles.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
Mr. Chair, and that's, you know, I'm on the lines of not trying to eat the whole elephant right now. If we can look at something where we can look at 2 or 3 vehicles, I need to see that type of information before we can affirm and move this forward. So if that can be provided, we can definitely look at going forward with these vehicles. But let's look at half of the vehicles, or let's purchase some for right now, because as May mentioned, we still got 9 months in this budget.
So what would half be, Mr. Carrington, if we went with half?
Well, I don't I don't know, because we're talking 6 different vehicles. I'm not sure what configuration that they're talking about, and how all that would work. You know, I've just been working with the police department in terms of the funding. So if we were to cut it in half, I'm not exactly sure how all of that would necessarily break down. I do know that, you know, and I did have a chance during, we didn't have a break, but I did have a chance to talk with AC Ratliff, and he did really emphasize the fact that, you know, there is a crucial timing aspect of this from the police department standpoint. A couple of things, you know, these vehicles are ready essentially to be delivered. These vehicles, you know, if we don't get them now, it would probably be a significant amount of time, probably 6 to 9 months for us to get them. And, you know, there again, there's just an issue has been talked about by Chief Riley in terms of the you know, the high mileage with the other vehicles. So, you know, his point was just, you know, that there is a timing concern and consideration. I don't know what the city's position is if we don't execute this transaction with the vehicles that we're proposing, because again, specific vehicles are essentially waiting for to be delivered with the dealer or dealers. I think it's 2 separate dealers that we're talking about.
Let me just say, if I can, my background is in vehicle maintenance. One thing that we don't have in the city of Inkster is a vehicle maintenance program. So as the vehicles are getting older and older by the minute, right now as they're driving in the streets and wear and tear on our roads in the city of Inkster, money is definitely going out the window. And we don't have something to put in place where each year we look at purchasing new vehicles, out with the old, in with the new. We're going to continue this revolving door of these vehicles breaking down. Just like, for instance, us having to go back and forth with Ford about a vehicle that came out of warranty, but we had problems with the vehicle since we purchased the actual vehicle. Not having a warranty now, I think you got 3 more of those vehicles in your fleet, right, Chief? Or 4?
He's muted. Hold on.
Chief, you got to get off mute first. I see you talking.
I'm sorry. Yes, we have 3 more in the fleet, and we're still chalking up issues with maintenance and whatnot. And it's that, you know, we have not spent any money on any vehicle. As a matter of fact, we have not. What we're trying to do is get them through a Lend-Lease program. We haven't signed no money for a Lend-Lease program. That's what we're trying to do is to get a Lend-Lease program to buy the vehicles. So there is no money that we have spent. We've identified vehicles that we would like to purchase, but we have spent no money because we have no money. And we have no money because we don't have the money to put up to go through a Lend-Lease program. So there is nobody sitting there saying that they got anything that the city of Inkster owed them any money, because we're trying to do a Lend-Lease program so that we can purchase the vehicles.
It's a program now. Mr. Chair.
Let me finish with my comment, Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay.
Also, too, Chief just explained a little bit about the vehicles that you got coming into the fleet, the 4 F-150, for instance, as it relates to traffic and trucking down Michigan Avenue and potential revenue.
One of the reasons why we looked at and we're trying to go after the Ford F-150 is because, one, it's got those huge scales that we got out, that we had them repaired. And the goal of it is because we have so much trucking going down Michigan Avenue, some of the trucks getting off of Michigan and going in the roads that they shouldn't be going to, you know, we want to go after and capture that revenue for tearing up our roads. Now, most of those citations, they're very expensive. Those citations start off, you know, at the $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, and $4,000 range because of the trucking and whatnot. Our goal is to capture that and also enforce it to keep from tearing up our roads in the city. Also, that vehicle, as usual, can be also run for regular traffic enforcement, you know, speeding and so forth. So it has a multi-purpose to it. But of course, it is a rugged vehicle, so that when the weather gets bad, if any, God forbid, if anything slides in, we can use it to tow a vehicle. We can use it to push a vehicle. So it's got multi-uses. So that's something we could use. So it's not like it's sitting there like, okay, we can't use the vehicle because of we're not running scales. It is a multi-use vehicle that we definitely can utilize and will utilize.
We're talking about $100,000 a year for 4 years, and looking at actually having with this program a fleet maintenance program as vehicles are. We buy new vehicles, old vehicles are going out, so they're under warranty. So you're always continuously under warranty when you run into these issues.
Yeah.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem, go ahead. I'm listening.
Okay, let me explain something to the public and to my council people. I worked at Chrysler Financial for 21 years, okay? I worked in the fleet. There is no cars. Ford, Chrysler, GM does not make a car that's fit for a police officer unless it's ordered. Now, come on now, y'all. Ain't no truck out there. They don't make them like that. I build F-150s. That's what we do in Dearborn Truck. Those cars are ordered before they are built. So y'all telling me something, and I'm like I said, if I'm wrong, I'm gonna apologize that I'm wrong. But I know I'm not wrong. Those cars were ordered. Those cars were ordered. Okay, now you're talking about a program. You ain't said nothing about no program. Those cars were ordered. Now I want to see the purchase orders.
Miss Mayor, if I may respond.
Of those car vehicles. Because don't no dealership, and I worked with the dealership for 21 years. Don't no dealership have no cars sitting on no lot waiting on some municipality to come and pick them up. They don't do that. They don't do that.
So the cars were ordered. So now we know that the
So
cars
the cars were ordered. So now y'all been lying to us all night, saying the cars wasn't ordered.
No, I'm saying you just said you're the expert. You the one that said the cars.
No, I'm telling you. So what you guys are lying. You just told me the cars were ordered. Did you just not say that?
What I said, I was listening to what you said. And you said
so now what give us the purchase order. I'm just asking you should have Darren Treasurer, Jan should have the purchase order. He can put it up on the screen and let us see it.
Is there
if you got the purchase orders, is it a purchase orders? You gotta have a purchase order of what you're trying to buy. But don't no dealership have no police cars sitting on the lot that's all fixed up and ready to go unless it's been ordered. They losing money. I've worked with the dealerships too long. I know what I'm talking about. I'm not crazy. I know what I'm talking about.
Okay, I understand that, and that's the point.
So now I want to know, if that's the case, can you produce? Adam George is not going to rescind that, but I want to see the purchase order of those vehicles because you're talking about a truck that you got souped up to make stop these trucks. You got to have that special order. Don't no dealership have that kind of truck sitting on the lot. Now come on now. These trucks were ordered without our authorization. These trucks were ordered. Wait a minute, George. These were ordered without our knowledge.
I'm trying to compromise. If you just need to see the purchase order.
You can compromise, but you need to do it in the right order. You do not order no cars that cost that much money without coming to council. Now, if you can't see that,
you're right.
You can't see that, George.
I see it, but
cars those kind of cars.
You're right on one mean, but on another mean, you understand? We got to look at the safety of the streets.
We have to look at the safety of the streets, but you know what? We took an oath to protect the city of Inkster. We took an oath to protect the city of Inkster and the city of Inkster finances. Now, can't nobody be going around ordering all of the $100,000, $300,000 without coming to council. You can't do that.
All right. Council, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chief Riley. You wanted to say something?
If I could. So everybody can understand. And no one, you know, I can only speak for, no one is trying to shave or undercut nobody. As any
Produce
vehicle,
the purchase orders now.
you
got them?
Be respectful, Mayor Pro Tem.
Please, let me explain. As in any vehicles that we may look at and we may desire, we may want, we will reach out to a dealership that may have those vehicles and may make those vehicles. And we will reach out to that dealership and we will advise them, hey, we would like to have whether 1, 2, 3, or 4 of those vehicles. We will let them know that, hey, our goal is to go through a lend-lease program to purchase these vehicles. We don't put no money down. They don't say that, hey, Chief Riley, if we find one or one come in to come out the factory, y'all owe us. No, we go and identify a vehicle, just like that truck. When we saw another agency with a truck like that, we reached out and said, well, do they make trucks? The answer to that is yes. Do they have them on lots? The answer to that is yes. We didn't ask for any specially made vehicle. Ford makes police F-150s that are police vehicles. The same way they make the SUVs. The same way that Dodge has gotten into the business of SUV for police vehicles. When we see a vehicle that we like, we reach out to the dealership. We say, hey, those vehicles, whether it be 1, 2, or 3, or 4, or 5, whatever the number is, we would like to purchase those vehicles. However, our goal is to do a lend-lease program. We don't have any money. We don't sign no papers to say that, hey, the city of Inkster owes you $100,000. No, that does not happen, and it did not happen. What we're saying is we identified vehicles that the city needed, that we felt we could use, and with the program that we were hoping to go through and use to purchase the vehicle, because we did not and do not have extra, I don't know what the total amount is, $300,000, whatever. We don't have it. So we were looking at the program to try to purchase the vehicle. But we had to have a type of vehicle that we were looking for to have numbers for the finance company to say, okay, this is possible, this ain't possible. You got to have numbers. But as far as us going in there and putting our name on the line that, hey, we've got to purchase a vehicle, the answer is no, 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 no. We identify vehicles that we want, that we would love to have, we would love to purchase, and we hope to purchase through this program. Okay? Okay. Right. Now, I have been in policing long enough to know that I can go to dealerships that work with police all the time, Chief, and say, look, if you have these vehicles, what can we do?
Okay, I have one more question then, because I do know for being on council, this is my 3rd year. This is my 3rd term. And vehicles are always purchased through DPS. Jerome usually orders the cars for the fleet. Now, I do know that.
Yeah, I think Jerome, he's on the line, and he explained it to me too as it
So,
relates to
okay,
the process.
right.
But he said that stopped back in 2016 with Mark Studemeyer. So
okay, so okay, so when they ordered the mayor's car, the previous mayor car, that was up under us. They did it. So my question to you guys, and if it's the purchase order, Darren should have it. Somebody should have it. Put it on the screen and let us see it. I want to see what the purchase order says. I mean, and like I said, if I'm wrong, I'm going to apologize. If I'm wrong, but I want to see that before I'm not going to put my name to this unless I see it.
You got to make a
and I'm asking my council people to look into this. I'm asking my council people because we have never had a budget amendment as long as I've been on council that the money has not been used.
But it ain't been
now
used.
We don't have a budget. We do have a council request. That's the difference. You have a council request. This is not a council request. This is a budget amendment, which means the funds has already been used. So that means that them trucks was ordered.
That's not.
I want to make
the whole time I've been on council, I have had a budget request, a budget amendment, and a council action request. Now, a council action request says that they want to purchase this. Then we said, yeah. It ain't been on no budget amendment. Now, you can go back and look at all the budget amendments, and nothing like that was on there.
I totally agree. I totally agree. I think it should be, it
So
should have a request for action. I
this
think right
body
now
can
we're just trying to find the money. And
And I'm not trying to persuade my council members which way to vote. I'm just telling y'all to think. Think. Please think.
Okay, okay. Well, we can't be here all night. You want to get half of them, or do you want to table it to the next meeting?
You got the motion, so what you want to do?
I made the motion. I'm talking to Kim right now.
No, I'm done with I done said what I said. I done said what I wanted to say. It's up to you. You the maker. You can either table it with the request that I'm asking.
I think you can still get that. I think we need to at least go.
But no, it still don't matter if we get 1 or 2 cars. I want to see the purchase order.
I ain't got no problem with that.
Well, that's you. You the maker. You the only one that can change this right now. Either you can rescind on that and say, look, we're gonna table it until we get the further documents. I can't tell you what to do. You have to do that. But I'm just asking my council people to think about what I just said.
Sal's idea. Sal say let's just go and get the 3.
What?
Let's table it.
Huh?
It's what it is.
Only thing I'm saying, I understand what Kim is saying, but you got to understand too. We need some cars out on the road. We don't.
I know that. I understand that. But see, okay, let's just
the safety of the people.
Let's have order. I totally agree. I want the cars.
Okay, so I'm saying if we can at least get 3 of them.
We need them all.
Well,
let's be in order because this is a heated subject. I think this with the process though, because this is about finding the money and identifying the money to be able to pay for the vehicles. But it should come with the request, and I totally agree with what Kim said.
Then I'll just make a motion. I'll make a motion to table it to the next meeting,
and we'll get it done. It's just what it is.
Who
Mr. Chip.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chip, I would like to see in that table, as y'all bring it before council, several options, not just, the 6 cars, but, some more options with cars, because we definitely need cars. We are being outran by these muscle cars that spilling and pilling throughout the community, and we are not catching them. And we're talking about giving citations and what have you, and we talking about going after folks and this and that, but we're not doing that in the streets or in the community because they're tearing up the streets. So let's come with a couple more options of the amount of cars that we can also purchase.
Councilman Shaw, Councilman Williams is the maker of the motion, so he would have to add that.
No,
okay, I'm sorry.
Well, he can add that. I was going to table to the next meeting.
You got to rescind what you said then. You want?
I can rescind and change my motion to table.
To table. Yes.
I can change it to table.
You can do that.
Just the supporter have to support it to the table.
That's in order. Is there support?
Yes, there's support.
All right. Any discussion on that?
No discussion on table.
All right. All right. Thank you so much. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Williams?
Yes.
Councilmember Shaw?
Yes.
Councilmember Washington?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard?
Yeah.
Councilmember Chisholm?
Yes.
And Councilmember Wiley?
Yeah.
Councilmember Wiley?
Yeah.
Okay. We have 6 yeas, Mayor.
All right. Motion carries to table. All right. We're moving right along. Public participation. You all have 1 minute to participate. And Council Shaw, Chisholm.
Yeah, y'all getting tired tonight.
Give them a rundown of what we got to do.
For our callers who've dialed in, please press *6 to raise your hand so you can be recognized during public participation. We are live on Zoom. Therefore, I know we're on Zoom and we're live on Facebook, and there might be persons who have watched and wanted to chime in, but you do have to call the number to speak during public participation. Like the mayor said, please press *6 to raise your hand to be recognized. Or if you're already on by video, please press the appropriate button to raise your hand so you can be recognized. And we do have one caller right now, Mr. Mayor, who had their hand up.
And also too, just for the record, you can, as public participation, if you want to send something to our illustrious clerk, our Rutledge, cityofinkster.com, as it relates to be read into public comment, we can do that as well. So that's just for future reference. All right, go ahead, Steve, you got it.
All righty.
Please state your name.
Hi, yes, this is Charles Blackwell. I just wanted to say that Mayor Pro Tem Howard, he's fired up about the police purchase order issue, like she had a pint of gin tonight or something. I mean, he's like really fired up about this issue. Thank you.
I'm sorry, guys. Next caller. It's gonna be something else on me tomorrow.
Oh Lord, I don't think we have any.
I'm sorry, but
All right.
We don't have any more.
Okay. All right. City Clerk.
Yes, I would just like residents to know that the absentee ballots have gone out. We are starting to receive the absentee ballots in. We also have an official drop box that is placed at City Hall where residents are able to drop their ballots. We also will have another drop box within the next couple of days that will be placed at the recreation complex where you are able to also drop your ballots. So once again, the absentee ballots have gone out and we are receiving them back in. If you would like to request an absentee ballot, please stop by the city clerk's office or contact the city clerk's office at 313-563-9770. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead. You can go ahead first.
We did have one hand. It popped up right as we were switching over.
Okay, let me just ask the clerk a couple of questions real quick.
Okay.
As it relates to voting, is there going to be early voting at City Hall?
Mayor, that term has been used loosely in this election. The state of Michigan does not have early voting, but what we do have is absentee voting. You are able to come in, request your absentee ballot, and you are able to vote your ballot at City Hall. But what you are requesting is an absentee ballot, and you are able to vote that ballot at City Hall.
Okay. All right, thank you very much, clerk. You're doing an awesome job. Keep up the good work. You guys have been really, really busy around here. Like little bees moving around City Hall. All right, go ahead, Steve. Let's recognize the caller.
All righty.
Is that 1309?
That's correct. And you know what? I think I told callers they might have to unmute themselves by pressing *6 on their end.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, great. This is Kafense Mandisa.
Mr.
And I'm
Mandisa.
calling. Yeah, good, great, thank you. So I'm calling about the firefighter, the money that was approved and raised. Well, really, I want to ask. We know pay is one of the top reasons why we have high turnover, but what are the other, I guess, top 3 reasons? Because I just don't want us to, pay the money and for some reason we see them still leave. I just want to make sure we're looking at it holistically. And that's the answer you guys may not have now, but it's something that, I do want us to look into.
All right, thank you very much. We'll definitely respond back to you in writing on that. I actually like that. I want to know that too. We'll do that.
Thank you.
All right, sir. So you do have another call at 5420?
Yeah. Here we go.
Hi, Yvette Hardy. I just had a comment about the Miles Shelter and nonprofit organization. What I'm thinking is that the council might want to have written in that contract is to ensure that they employ some Inkster residents also to ensure that they at least look at about 15 to 20 of those individuals in the shelter to ensure that they are purchasing homes in the city of Inkster. And you all may want to have some say on the requirements for the admission of those individuals coming into the shelter, because there should be some requirements. You know, you don't want it to be where it's just this family is homeless, she's got 3 children. Okay, you want to help them develop that requirement admission part of it. That probably would be helpful for you all, because you want to look at it from the standpoint of not utilizing your resources, especially the police department, where they're going to the shelter because, for example, they're there because of domestic violence, and now a person shows up that shouldn't be on the ground, things of that nature. And I'm speaking about that and speaking to that situation because the experience I have had working for the Department of Health and Human Services, dealing with domestic violence situations with consumers. So you definitely want to address that piece. That is a very important piece.
Thank you so much, Ms. Hardy. Duly noted. Councilman Chisholm?
I was just saying it was at the 1 minute time mark.
All right, perfect. I see you have another hand up.
Yep.
8999.
Oops. Uh-oh. Are they, did they unmute? Oh, they unmuted.
Caller, state your name.
Good evening, Aaron. This is Sergeant Wall with the Code Enforcement Department Supervisor. I just wanted to reach out and let everyone know that I wanted to acknowledge Mr. Seaton and adding our Code Enforcement Corner to the city's webpage. We plan to update residents on new and pertinent developments with regards to code enforcement on that particular corner. It's called Code Enforcement Corner on the city's webpage. With regards to moving forward with what's coming up with the seasonal changes and what is being addressed as far as ordinances and violations. Certain things have become civil infractions, and those will be addressed as fines only rather than misdemeanors that require a court appearance, so that those things can be resolved in a timely fashion rather than something having to take time off from work to appear in court, spend the day away from their responsibilities. It's basically paying a fine and moving forward with that. So I just wanted to reach out to Mayor and Council and recognize Mr. Seaton and adding that particular section to the city's webpage with regards to the Code Enforcement Corner, and any future pertinent information will be displayed there. Thank you.
Also, too, Don, while I got you on the line, you have a new officer that's going through training, correct?
She might be gone already.
Just
just,
okay. Is she? Okay.
Yes, I think she's gone. It's just a delay and it disconnected from here.
Okay. Yeah, we're trying to. Is she? Look like. Oh. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll have her back on when she completes the training. I want to jinx her, and she's not successful. Okay. All right, City Treasurer.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So just real quick, just had one item. Just wanted to follow up. Last meeting, we had mentioned the hazard pay premium that was being processed at the time. We did receive those funds, and we made payments to a number of police officers and firefighters. They each received $1,000 premium or bonus for hazard pay. That was funding came again through the state through another program from the CARES Act. And so we were required to make those payments by September 30th. We'll include all the details in the upcoming budget presentation that we scheduled for the end of October, but just wanted to confirm that we did make those payments and had confirmed receipt of the funds, and payments have been made to the public safety employees.
Okay. Also, too, did you want to speak on the MDOT's response to our request to put in speed bumps with local funds, local street funds?
I was about to say I was going to leave that to Mr. Billings, but I guess he's not on the. So in reference to the speed bumps that the mayor had alluded to, we had submitted a request through the administration to the state of Michigan, Department of Transportation. The specific request was not granted. They did give us some feedback and guidance on how we can amend the request. Director Bivens is currently working on that now. But the mayor remains committed to figuring out a way for us to fund that. Essentially, we weren't able to use road funds for the request as it was designed. So we're redoing the request so that it can qualify for road funds.
Mr. Hey, Mr. Mayor, and to council, yes. Like Mr. Carrington stated, our initial request was denied by the state, but I have done some follow-up today, and I understand what they're asking for, and I'm in the process of putting that together and submit it to the mayor. And basically what it is, you take part of the road segment or where you want to put a speed bump and you turn that into a speed bump, which makes it permanent. It's not bolted into the ground, it's part of the road. I saw Mayor Pro Temp spoke to me about it. She saw it on the news in Detroit, and she mentioned it to me, that I followed up with our engineers today. So what we're looking at is the roads that have blacktop. We're not looking at the roads with concrete because that's very expensive to cut into a concrete road and make a speed bump. But the roads that have blacktop, we're looking at reaching out to one of our contractors that have done work for us, road projects, and see how much it would cost to manufacture. That's basically what you're doing. You're manufacturing a speed bump out of the road. And that's what the state was talking about. They will support that. But Mr. Mayor, what you had sent them, you correct, is what's in Detroit, that they will not support because you can take those up and move. And that's why they said permanent. So I got a clear understanding of that today. So I'm working on that. Hopefully I'll have an answer for you by next Monday or Tuesday. But who can do that and where we go from there.
All right, Reverend Williams, you had a question?
Yeah. I don't know, you know, I don't drink anymore, and I know I ain't been drinking anything, but, you know, I brought out the ideal, and then I guess the lady hit me back, one of the assistants to Jerome said that Jerome didn't know anything about it, but I talked with you and Jerome about the possibility of seeing how much it would cost to get the traffic light, not the traffic light, they call the lights that you can just set up on the side, and when a car passes, okay, and it was going over the speed limit, that machine hits their license plate. They got them all, you know. I mean, they got me about 10 or 15 times in Texas, you know, down in Texas, you know.
You talking about a speed camera? That's something that the police would deal with, not me. That would come through the police department. You see them at the airport when you're going to McNamara Turner, they have a speed camera there that tell you how fast you're going. That's what you're talking about.
Well, I was just thinking of some of the fast speed roads that we have, like Carlisle and stuff like that, Avondale. Well, I don't know, they ain't going too fast down Avondale right now because the road ain't smooth enough. But I'm just saying, if we have machines like that, you'd be surprised. It'll pay for itself.
Yeah, but that's what you're speaking of. You're speaking of a speed camera.
Yeah, I didn't know what to call it. You know,
yeah, it's a speed camera.
Yeah. And I'm just saying, how much would they cost? And you know, if we can get, you know, about 3 or 4 of them, we'll be all right.
I don't know about that.
A whole police officer.
Yeah, I would have to look into that, sir, because I don't think they're cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So can I?
that's why we're gonna write the grant and try to get it. Y'all been writing grants for everything else. So,
No
hey.
doubt about that. I heard someone chiming in.
That was me. I want to know how would that work with the neighborhoods, because that's where all the complaints usually come from is a neighborhood. So what if they don't have the black tar road and it's just concrete?
Yeah, most of those is cement.
I would have to look into that and see, because right now I have my engineers, I gave them a list that was provided to me by the police department, and they're going through and look and see what's blacktop, what's concrete. I just know concrete is very expensive because you got to actually cut into that road and build up a mile. So that would be very expensive versus cutting into some blacktop and building up a mile. So, I mean, we would have to probably look at the mayor's suggestion with putting removable speed bumps on them, but then we would have to foot that bill through the city fund. I can't use Act 51 money for that. So, we would have to look at that cost. Yeah.
That's where the discussion started. We looked at what the city of Detroit was doing. I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar with what Detroit is doing with the speed cushions. And we were looking at, of course, a way that it wouldn't hit our general fund and we would have to pay for it. So that's why we looked at the Act 51 monies. But what they're saying is that it has to be permanent, asphyxiated to the road. You can't necessarily bolt it down. It actually has to be part of the road itself in order for them to be able to, for us to be able to justify the money that we're spending for roads in that way.
Well,
We don't give up. We're gonna keep working.
For one of them signs that takes the license plate, can you just look up and see what they cost since you think they're so expensive? It might not be expensive you would think they are.
We're working on that too.
Okay.
With our cameras.
All right, Mr. Mayor, let's work on it.
That you approved last council meeting. We're working on that.
All
right. All right. So,
Mr. Chair, I did have a question for the treasurer.
Go ahead.
When is we're going to get the budget to actuals? I mean, is that coming pretty soon or?
Yes, we did complete. We're doing a lot of year-end adjustments. So there's some transactions that were in the month of August that had to get moved back to June. I do have those financials. I didn't get a chance to send them out. So we have gotten through the month of August, and we're now starting to work on September. So I will send those out this evening or first thing in the morning, and that'll be I owe you the check register through August and the August financials with those year-to-date numbers. But we have gotten through those.
Okay, could you put Felicia, the city clerk, on that too as well?
For sure, for sure.
Thank you, sir.
And Shaw, you might as well go ahead and jump on in. You got anything for us?
Yes, I did want to see if the administration can look into buying our water in bulk. I know that some communities like Westland, Livonia, Canton, they did the feasibility study. So what they're trying to do is bring other communities on in partnership with these communities to cut rates and cut costs on water by buying it in bulk. So if the administration could look into that and see if we can possibly become partners or what we need to do to become partners with these other communities to drive down the costs and to drive down the rates that we have in the city of Inkster. And
are you talking about consumable water from like tap water?
Yeah, the regular water.
Interesting.
So what they're doing is they're buying it in bulk to drive down costs. It's Westland, Livonia, and Canton that are in the group of communities that are starting. So if we can reach out to those communities to see how to become a partner, they already did the feasibility study, so that's not a problem. And see what we can do with it. Just the idea to see if we can drive down some costs.
Yep.
And also, I do want to thank Mr. Carrington and the Treasurer Office Department for some issues that we had in the water. So I want to say thank you to Mr. Carrington for that. And also on Woodland Helen, Harrison, and Northwood, we do require police presence. Now on Woodland, these muscle cars are at the end of the 1400 block of Woodland, and they are peeling up the road. Some of my members have contacted me. I have been seeing these cars. There's a white Charger, there's a blue Charger. These same exact vehicles are throughout the whole northeast section of the city. They're in the 1400 block. That's where they congregate. I've been riding around. I checked them out. So we definitely need the police presence over there. And to really, get a handle on these individuals, because they can actually spin out. You know what? They had so much smoke in one of my members that it was all in her house. So that's how much smoke they're burning up on the roads. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Some of my members that went to the police department with colors of cars, with license plates. They feel like they're not being receptive to these engagements. I would like more of a friendly officer there that's going to collect the information that citizens are giving to the police department. So we need some help. We need some help. We need some presence over there. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Hey, Mr. Mayor, excuse me for one second. Before you move on to the next council person, let me explain to you, council, and Councilman Shaw, what he was just talking about on the portable water. Those communities are building storage tanks. That's what they're building. So they're storing up water. So when it's off-peak hour, instead of GLEWA providing the water, they can provide water to their residents. So that's what he's speaking of, and that's a very expensive project. So they're actually building a tank to store water that they get from GLEWA, so they can provide it to their community. Then they come offline off GLEWA's service for that particular time.
So what they're doing is, trying to establish a network or a partnership. So that's, to kind of drive down costs as well. So,
yeah.
If it's feasible for us, or if it's not, it's just the idea that we can, tap into. And then also, since Jerome, that you reminded me, are we ready for the snow? We got the salt and we got our plows ready for the snow that's going to be coming in a few months.
Mr. Mayor, would you like to address that, or you want me to?
Oh, no, you're fine, because you already know how I feel about it.
Yes, we're ready, sir.
Okay.
No doubt about
Thank
it.
you, sir. That's all I have.
Yes, sir.
All right. Councilwoman Washington?
I would like to invite everyone in the city of Inkster residents out to my Zoom call tomorrow. We'll be going over coping with anxiety and loss during the pandemic. It's tomorrow at 6:30. You can find the information on Facebook City of Inkster page, or my city council woman Regina Washington Facebook page as well. And hopefully we see you tomorrow and you can learn some things about coping with stress.
Awesome. All right, Councilman Chu.
Just wanted to let everyone know that one of our clergy persons has officially retired as of October 1st, 2020. Father Ellis Clifton is no longer a priest in the city of Inkster. So I just want to wish him a happy retirement and onward and upward. And that's all I have.
Nowhere.
Not yet. He's still here for a little bit, but he will be gone.
You can't go until you pay up.
Awesome. Councilwoman Wiley.
Yes, Mayor. First of all, I would like to remind the residents that on Tuesday, October 27th at 6 p.m., the City Council will be having a study session reference the marijuana ordinance within the City of Inkster. I urge all of you to try and attend this, because if we're not paying attention, something tells me that the marijuana footprint within the city will become enormously larger. Now, I have been taking surveys from people within my district, just random calling, and I have yet to speak to a person who wants this to continue or who wants to have more than we have right now. And there's some really specific things within this ordinance that need to be addressed. So I urge residents to attend this study session Tuesday, October 27th at 6 p.m. And there should be some information going out on how you can get on this call. We're still doing things by Zoom, but this is important to your community if you want it to stay your community. Okay, the second thing I have is, Mayor, I am interested in the GIS contract. I think that's what it's called. I understand it's already paid for. And this software would go a long way with helping us distinguish between different things. I guess they have map overlays and things of that nature. So I understand it's already in the budget, but the contract hasn't been signed yet. Can you speak to that?
Darren, if you could speak to that for me, please.
Yeah, I think Councilwoman Watley is what she said is correct. The money was appropriated in the budget. We have not purchased it, and I don't believe we finalized the contract. I think I don't know if Mrs. Hines is able to speak to it at all, but it was something that had been worked on, had been presented by the Ms. Jordan. But we have not, I don't think we finalized it. And maybe it's not just a matter of finalizing the contract. I think we just haven't taken the final steps to go ahead and move forward with that matter. But it is included in this year's budget.
But what I'm understanding is that this would be like a second person in planning, because they have, like, you can overlay maps and you can actually see the different distances from exactly the things we're talking about in these ordinances right now, 1,000-foot spaces of that nature. Oh, there's Caitlin, I just saw her name. So if she wants to speak to that, that would be great.
Yeah, for sure.
Hi, yeah, so yes, GIS would be very useful. We've been trying to get it we've been promised and been trying to get it since I started working here. So it's been 2 years. And this was the first contract we've had presented to us and that we've wanted to move forward with. I have sent it to the mayor and he does have it and he just needs to sign it, but it just hasn't been signed as far as I'm aware.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is someone needs to sign something and we can move forward with this. It's already.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more than that. So at the same time, we know that Ms. Jordan, we parted ways with Ms. Jordan, and she was the person that was actually spearheading the GIS, and she had the knowledge and how to operate it. What I didn't want it to be was like the Laserfish purchase that we had purchased a couple of years back, and no one had operational skills to be able to use it. And to waste taxpayers' money on something, just having something and not being able to use it. So I'll get with Caitlin tomorrow and we'll look at it and we'll go from there.
Isn't Miss Adriana, isn't she still consulting with us at this time?
Yes, she just took on a new job, and her contract is up with us in November the 1st. So we're trying to get that done now. So that's one of the things that she is working on for us.
The GIS.
Yes.
On that for you. Okay. And the other thing I have is I understand we've hired a person for the rec center, a rec center director.
Yes.
And
I'll be making that introduction during my time of speaking.
Okay. That's it.
Okay. All right. Councilman Williams?
Well, I don't think I got nothing tonight.
All right. All right, let's see. We got everybody, Shaw. Mayor Pro Tem Howard?
Nothing at this time, Mayor.
All right, perfect. All right, so I think I covered pretty much everything outside of the fact that the census was extended, so you still have time to do your census. I know that the enumerators are not working anymore within the city of Inkster. Curtis Barge has actually been doing an excellent job and truly keeping us all in the loop of what's been going on and trying to get more people actually out about the census and keeping those enumerators here in the census in the city until the very end. But we're having some issues right now working with the people that's kind of over the census here in our area. So what I'm just asking and pleading with all of you to do is continue to push the census, get people online, sign up for the census, one of the most important things that we can do, of course, and voting. Last but not least for me, I had the opportunity to bring on a new Parks and Rec director, gentleman by the name of Alex Legion. And if you could please, Steve, unmute him and let's see if he's on camera. So we can make an introduction for him. Shirley Hankerson, president for the Recreation Department, actually for the commission. She was on the part of the hiring process along with Gina Triplett and Deja Rose and myself. So
All right.
we got the right person and we're just moving it along. You got him there?
I sent the request, not sure if he's able to.
Yeah, he's right down at the bottom, Alex.
Yeah, I see him down there, Alex Legion.
Down at the bottom.
Alex, I think Alex actually probably spent more time at the complex than he did at his own house. Right next door to it.
You know, I was saying, I see his name. I've been sending the request, but he might, if he's on the phone or something like, if he's on the phone. I've been sending the request to unmute him and to start his video, but if he's on the telephone currently, it won't go through.
Okay, gotcha. All right, then, so what I will do is I'll bring him back at a later date just so we can put some faces with the names. And what we are doing is Mr. Seaton is working with Deja to provide faces with the resumes so we can put them on our website as we had new hires. And so, you know, of course, the council will know, and then, of course, the general public will know, especially during these times of COVID. All right. Do we have anything for closed session?
Mayor, if we don't, are we gonna have closed session? Because I'm interested in that back and forth that was going on the, in the emails, the city emails today. I'd like to ask some questions.
I don't have anything for closed session, but you can call me up and I can discuss it with you unless I don't need any action for closed session.
All right. What's the pleasure of this night?
I would like for everyone to hear it. I have a phobia about talking one-on-one.
Okay. Do we have a motion to go into closed session for litigation?
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry. I forgot to mention something, and it's about the COVID testing that we're doing. If you can put that out there. The COVID test that's being done at the police station. I think they're having another one, October the 9th?
Chief Riley?
Thank you. I'm sorry, I forgot about that.
I don't believe he's still on the call any longer.
Okay. We'll get that information out.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome. So is there support to go into closed session on litigation?
Support.
Well, you made the motion.
Who made the motion?
I
Mayor,
can
I'm
support
sorry.
it either way.
Yeah,
Who
Wiley,
made
you made the motion.
Okay.
Wiley made the motion. Is there support?
And make sure, Ms. Wiley, you identify which matter you want to discuss.
Thank you.
Gibbons, that was the back and forth today.
Bevan's case.
Support.
Properly moved and supported. Roll call.
Councilmember Shaw,
No.
Councilmember Williams,
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
No.
Councilmember Washington,
Yes.
Councilmember Watley,
Yes.
Councilmember Chisholm.
Yes.
Mayor, we have 3 nays and 3 yays.
Yeah, why not? Let's hear it.
Okay.
All right, let's go into closed session real quick.
Okay.
No, we all trying to get home. Let's talk
And
about
it's
it.
the, Devin is for the closed session. I just wanted to state that for the, right, okay. Thank
Yes.
you.
And Troy, let's get the room. Let's go.
Hey, Mayor, is anybody additional joining you guys?
I just think David, unless David is bringing, David, you have anybody?
No.
Okay. For the general public, we wanted a closed session, and hopefully we'll be right back out to adjourn the meeting.
So move.
So support.
Support.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Felicia. She can't hear me.
I can hear you, yes.
Motion carries, meeting's adjourned.
I hear you, Councilwoman.
Hey, Felicia.
Yes.
Okay, one question that I need to clear up since we all adjourned. Okay, has she applied for the license in her name?
The meeting is adjourned.
That's her question. I know the meeting is over.
She applied.
But we're still live.